line, screaming like a siren at night. Red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the dead of night. They sell fear, cheap package the lies, while the clock keeps ticking, empires on fire. Can't sit quiet while the world's on edge. Lines in the sand, standing on the ledge. No script, no leash, no polished choir. Just a voice in the dark and a spark to the wire. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. Everybody's selling truth like a brand, buying opinions they don't understand. Talking in circles, screaming online. Keyboard courage, borrowed spines. Yeah, power plays dressed up as peace. Same old walls with different teeth. But silence is loud when the house is burning. And the fuse is short, yeah, it's still learning. I don't dance for the left or the right. I stand in the heat, I stand in the fight. No strings, no chains, no manufactured choir. Just gasoline thoughts and an open lighter. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. World's on tilt, pressure climbing. Truth don't whisper, it's perfect timing. You can't cancel the smoke, you can't stop flame. Say my name when it hits, say my name. Why? Say my name. Say my name. Fire don't ask permission. Fire don't need a side. Fire just shows up honest and exposes the lie. This is and I'll bring the fire. Truth is hard, I'll burn it down till what's real survives. No smoke, no mirrors, just heat and lies. And I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. American fire. Strike it. Let it speak.
Good morning, everybody. What is happening? Afternoon for those here on the East Coast, but you know, it is what it is. Enjoy your lunch, enjoy your work, whatever it is. We'll be hanging out today for a couple hours. Welcome to American Fire. I'm Ace. Happy Tuesday. It's a beautiful day. So much good stuff going on, folks. The more I look at what President Trump's accomplishing, the more I actually pay attention to the numbers, the actual data, the staying away from the narratives. Man, I get more excited every day. It is amazing what is happening in this country and in this world because of this administration. So give some thanks. We're going to get into it today. Got a whole lot of good news, plus breaking narratives today because there are some major PSYOP lies going on. We're going to cut through. So all the good ones are back. We got Grifter Report. We got justice updates. We got Iran updates. You guys, you name it, midterms, etc. It's all coming together today. So buckle up and be ready. We're going to have a fun live, do lots of fun, have some joy. Have some white pilling, some red pilling. It's all going down today. So welcome. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you all for watching. Everybody on Rumble, YouTube, Kick, and X. Welcome. X and Kick, unfortunately, I cannot see your comments, but I still appreciate you and thank you for watching. But here, let's do some shout outs for Rumble and YouTube on the Rums. We got Maui Jimbo, Sheath 777, Chrissy Katz in the house, and Pixel Snap AZ Tropic, Blue Peahan holding it down. Welcome, guys, and thank you for watching here on the Tubes. Yes, the Tubes is the largest place. I'm going to shout out as many as I can here. Gen X MAGA, numero uno today. Funny Guy, Dabbot Todd, Sonny Danielson, Wagga Waco, Nick Majors, Bobby Girl, Uden Scotland, Lisa Couture, MFN Tango, Chicky Rogue, Tie-Dye, Grey Fog, Carnivore, Lil Rue, Lisa Doxy K, Shuey, Pat M, Threads. I hear you have a birthday today, Threads. That's what it looked like. The One, What to Do, Lindsay B, Jalmar, Rum Dog, Scott Volkovich, Kevin Tweedy, Edwin Fry. Edwin Fry? Well, that's interesting. I like it. Nick Majors, Paddock, Susie Smith, Soar, Wake the Flock Up, Explorator V, and many, many more. Welcome, guys. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and blow up the chat. Do it, folks. Hit that chat up. Questions, comments, discussion, light it up. People, this is the best community on YouTube. Everyone agrees. Everyone agrees it's the greatest. In fact, let's do a poll right now. Right now. Is this the best community on YouTube? Let's make it official, shall we? Let's go ahead and vote. Why is it the best community on YouTube? It's because we monitor it. We keep the trolls out. We make sure that the people in this chat are real. Doesn't mean you have to agree. Go ahead and disagree, but be respectful, be honorable. And if you treat others the way you'd like to be treated, you'll get to stay. It's amazing. I know. It's funny how that works, but no trolls are allowed. We will boot you. The moderators are vicious, especially Shogun, the assassin DEI troll. He's well trained in the art of blocking. He knows what to do because he has the numbers on his side with his accountant Asian brain. It's a wonderful thing. The only flaw he has is he's a Seahawks fan, but it's okay. He's always lurking in the shadows, ready to axe the heads of trolls. And I fully support it. So he's actually doing a pretty good job for a DEI hire. Gotta say, but we're a positive community because we believe that no matter what, things are moving forward in a good direction. Even when we have setbacks, even when times are tough, we move ahead. We look for positive outcomes. We look for opportunity as winners do. And that's what's going to keep it moving, folks. So welcome. Welcome. As always, if you want to get my attention, I do stop in the chat in between segments here at the beginning and also at the end of the show. Take my time to be a part of the community by joining in. But I do ask you tag me so I can see it. It is hard. It's hard to parse through there, guys. We get lots of chatting. It's growing bigger every day, which is exceptional, but harder for me to read. So please tag me so I can find your comments. And then if you'd like to support the show, which this is a viewer supported show, you can always send a super chat, of which I am guaranteed to read or answer the questions. So let's see here. Shift of Narrative says I'll have 500 subs by next year. Oh man, that's exciting, but I don't know about that. That would be huge. We'll see if YouTube likes me that much. Johan says, sorry, Ace, love you and the beautiful people here. I also watch Promethean Action is amazing. I just don't know if they monitor their chat, that we keep it cleaner here, but I don't know. Maybe they do. They have a great community as well. Of course they do. Thoughts on the DSA candidate winning in Michigan for Senate backed by Republicans so they can get smashed by them in the general. I do think if Abdul Sayed wins in Michigan, he's going to lose in the general. People don't want communism. I've been talking about it so much that, I'm going blue in the face, but I'll continue speaking about it because the truth is Americans hate communism. They do. And we've never gotten that out of our DNA. It's not going away anytime soon. And as they become more and more outward about it, they're going to lose more, which is good for us. It's very good for us. Sebastian Chose says, keep exposing Massey. Some people waking up on him. My brothers ain't so black. Ain't they too black-pilled? More people waking up to Matt. Well, that's a good thing. Keep spreading it. Show them all my Massey videos. I've done quite a few of them and see what they say. Oh, we have a retard in the chat. Veritas says he's yet to even do one thing but protect pedos and do literally the opposite of anything we voted for. You, sir, are a retard, and I am banning you because guess what? If you're that stupid, you can't even admit the border is better. You can't even admit the lower taxes. You can have all your other disagreements with Trump in the world, but if you say he hasn't done one thing, I know you're a troll because you're absolutely retarded and you've offered nothing. So you're gone, sir. That's not how you disagree respectfully. That's coming in that's pushing a narrative. And folks, that's how you do it. That's how you can tell right there. When people say stuff like that, when they cannot provide any nuance, when they cannot provide any kind of actual breakdown and they just push a stupid little talking point, that's a troll, and they got to go bye-bye. Trolls and bots. That's how you get rid of them. That's how you immediately, the retard detector is strong in this one, and you get it, and you see it, and here's your sign, and you go bye-bye, because that is retarded. That was an absolutely stupid thing to say, and it doesn't bring anything to the chat. It doesn't offer anything to discussion. It is not at all constructive at all, and so anybody who's not constructive goes bye-bye. Goes bye-bye. And that's how we keep the chat amazing. But I am glad he showed up because it's great to know I'm on the right track because they get mad. They get mad. Ryoko, what is that? Ryoka Haba Hakabi. Well, that's a name right there. Brother, I literally had the same hat as a kid raising Modesto. I love seeing my new favorite YouTuber. I love watching with rich and lovely ladies. Promethean, 23 in prediction. I love it. You know, I grew up 1 hour away from Modesto, Ryoko, in a little town called Sonora, California. So guess what? We are NorCal brothers or sisters, or bro sisters, siblings. I don't know, girl or boy. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know if I'm misgendering you or not. My bad. It's hard to tell when you got a name like that, but I always automatically, any name I don't understand, I always automatically assume it's a guy because I'm a guy. It's just what we do. Sorry. New liberal psyop is to paint all conservatives as immoral. You mean conservatives? That's a weird autocorrect right there. Funny how the troll's named Veritas. Well, you know, that's what they do. They like to paint themselves as like being important and interesting, and then they do that. Diane says, I'm absolutely biased, but I certainly look forward to being here for the live stream, and Ace is close to or on target. Well, thank you, Diane. I appreciate that very much so. Papa Tag says, I can't wait to kick a troll out. Papa, I tell you what, if you're in the community long enough, you will upgrade yourself to be a moderator. The moderators on this show, you know why they're moderators? Because most of them have been here for 3 years or longer. I have gotten to know them. They are all members in the Discord. So they're people I trust. And I have given them the ultimate power of being able to axe trolls. And I know they wield it well. They do a great job. I love my mods. But the more we get, the bigger we get, the more mods I'll need. So the more Shogun's lurking in the background. See, the Samurai Shogun. But yeah, you you can upgrade over time. And Papa, I've seen you in the chat for quite a while, so your day may come. So anyways, all right, guys. Well, 96% of people so far of 117 votes say this is a community, best community on YouTube. Folks, 96% of anything is an overwhelming majority. And so I'm glad to take it. And anybody else who still hasn't voted, take a vote and let's see where it gets us. So again, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We have a lot to get into today. We're going to start with breaking in the Justice Department, some big news. We're going to cover this in just a second. Why it matters, why they're terrified of Todd Blanche and Clayton coming in. But so we're going to break all that down in just a second. How I think this is the beginning of the mass accountability process that's coming, that Donald Trump promised us, and it's coming. So you guys, again, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Please tag me as I do this. Once I'm done with the segment, I will stop. I will go through the chat to find questions, comments that you guys have regarding this. And please tag me so I can find it. Or again, if you want to support the channel, a super chat always helps me keep doing this every day. So Major says, I'm right 96.7% of the time. Well, it's true. But it's not because I'm a genius. All right. I've always said this. It's like, I just know to trust Trump. And if you trust Trump, you become right 96.7% of the time. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's not quite as high as Rush, but I'll take it. I'll take it. But it's because, you find you learn who to trust, and it makes you right a lot more, doesn't it? Debbie says, from the UK, love your channel, Faith and Truth. Love Trump. Wish he was our president. I know. I feel for you. You guys are struggling. Tanzu, how can I earn a mod status? Takes a while. Like I said, all mods are members and have built a relationship with me, so I trust them all. Johan says, guys, I'm 59, never seen real time such intelligent, clever, brave, confident strategist, President Trump. There you go. Everybody who pays attention, who doesn't already hate him, who is unbiased and just wants America greater, comes to the same conclusion. That's how it works, because objectively, Trump is the greatest president, and I mean objectively, not subjectively, objectively, based on what he's accomplished and what he continues to accomplish and how he's actually shifting our culture as well as our economy, as well as geopolitics in America's favor. He is objectively the greatest president in our history since Abraham Lincoln, and I do believe he will finish, and history in a few years will look back on him and say, my God, that is the great American president. After Washington, Lincoln, Trump, it'll be those three. And that's an objective fact, in my opinion. Threads believes he's a time traveler. We're not going there. Lay Arsenault says, Trump lost me on Iran. Well, then obviously you're not watching my show, and that's okay. I will change your perspective quickly. In fact, if you go to my playlist of Iran war and watch how everything breaks down, it'll all make so much more sense to you. In fact, even if you go watch yesterday's show, if you actually understand what Trump's doing in Iran, it changes the entire narrative. And I totally understand that on its surface, if you're not paying attention, because I have friends like this, don't pay attention. All they know is we went to war in Iran. They're like, what? Why? They have no idea what else is going on. They're not looking behind the scenes. They're not doing the deep dives. And I understand it. Not everybody has time for that. But once you understand what he's done in Iran, what he's already accomplished in Iran, and where it's headed, you'd have to be crazy not to support it. You would have to be crazy, because once you understand who our real enemy is and how Iran is shifting the entire geopolitical scape for us in the long term, it makes everything just fall into place. And at that point, I would think you'd have to be crazy not to support it. But I understand if you don't understand that. But if you're watching my show and you still don't understand why Trump's in Iran or don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Tina says, I don't see anything changing enough to help what COVID did. Well, here's the deal. When you have something as disruptive and horrific as COVID, it's a lot easier to tear stuff down than it is to rebuild. You understand that? So when you say that, and then it was followed by 4 years of Biden dismantling our country even further, you have to celebrate progress. What Trump is doing is turning the tide. He's rebuilding the foundation. All the effects and results of that will take time. And I'm sorry, you can snap your fingers and release a virus into the world. You can't snap your fingers and undo the damage. It takes time. So again, impatience will often ruin your ability to see clearly. And I'm telling everybody, don't be impatient, because what Trump's doing is incredible and building towards ruining or undoing everything from COVID and resetting our country on the right course. Xobo says, loved your yesterday video. I've been saying this lately. Scott Bessent, probably #1 war power in the Iran conflict. Of course he is. Once you understand Iran is actually a financial war more than anything else, it all makes sense. Ryoko, fellow gentleman. I love it. Lived in Humboldt. Ooh, you must be weird then. Humboldt is great. Let's see. Lay Arsenault says, I support him attacking. I don't support the Grandal. Well, it's not nonsense again, if you understand what he's doing, but I hope you watch the show and get a better understanding of it. Anything else before I move on here? TL says, I'm so blessed Trump's our president, especially since I've seen what's going on in Canada. Absolutely. You guys think Trump sucks. See what's happening everywhere else in the world and realize that's us. If the Democrats or even establishment Republicans stayed in power. I'm sorry, but here's part of the problem of being angry at Trump. And I don't think most people understand this because most people are still in normalcy bias. But the absolute number one issue I have with people who are upset at Trump right now is what's the alternative? What's the alternative? Folks, we don't have one. We do not have one. It is Trump and the MAGA movement and who he builds up to replace him. That is it. That is all we have. Otherwise, you won't have a country anymore. Otherwise, you will bring on, by voting someone else, you'll bring on Europe here to our shores. We will be overrun by illegals. We will lose our rights. They will stack the Supreme Court. They will abolish ICE. They will get rid of, they will allow criminals to run free. They will continue trafficking victims across the border. Biden allowed 380,000 children to be trafficked. You are voting for that when you don't vote for Trump or you vote for Democrats. That's what you're voting for. So I want you to know that the only moral choice we have is Trump. And once you realize that, it makes it so much easier to say, okay, we got to figure out how to make this work. Why is Trump doing what he's doing? How do we support this? There is no other moral choice. At this point, if you vote for a Democrat, you're voting for children to be trafficked. You're voting for America to die. You're voting for your rights to go away. If you don't vote for Trump and you just sit out of it, you're voting for children to be trafficked. You're voting for your rights to be taken away. You're voting for America to be destroyed. You're voting for communism. There is no other option. So get on the train or shut up. I'm serious right now. There is no other option. So play your political games. Oh, I don't like this. Be retarded. Matt Walsh, Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Candace Owens, all these idiots who all they're doing is setting us up for massive failure. Because all they'll do is ruin the one hope we have. And I don't have time for anybody who doesn't understand that. I'm sorry, I don't. Go play your game somewhere else. We are here to win. We are here to save our nation. We are here to give our kids a better life. We are here to bring justice back to our nation and give America a fighting chance for the future. That's what we're here for. And anybody else who just wants to play games can leave. We don't have time for it. This is a war. People who think we can just have regular politics fights right now, who think this is just same old, you are not helping at all. You have no idea what you're talking about. So leave. Go play your games somewhere else. Go watch CNN if you want to live in that bubble. But we are here to win. And whether you love Trump, everything he does, or understand everything he does, again, we have one option. In war, you get behind the general. And you don't question, you get in line. This is war. And I'll be damned if we lose it on my watch. It's not going to happen. I will show up here every day, except for the weekends, although sometimes on the weekends. I'm showing up here the next few days to do lives, even on my lake house vacation, because this thing cannot stop. We have to get it out there. We cannot lose. I don't care if your feelings are hurt. I don't care if you wish things were a little bit better. I don't wish if you things moved a little bit faster. I don't. Here we go. Iran regime still alive. Where's Biden? Omar Wall still not arrested. All BS. Okay, well, guess what? You're gone. That's how I feel about it. I don't have time for you. I don't have time for that nonsense. Bye-bye, star 0808. Goodbye. I love it. Bring out the trolls. Come on. Come on, bring it. Bring it, trolls. Bring it. I want to. Please. Go in here, jump in, and get out. Okay? Get out. Get out. I'll say, I'll find the trolls and I'll kick you out. So, For Really says a Christian only follows Jesus. I don't know what you're talking about. Trump's our only hope. Trump's our only hope that Jesus gave us, retard. Goodbye. You're on timeout. You can come back in a day. Because that's a retarded thing to say. Who do you think God uses? He uses people, retard. He uses people. And the only chance we have is what God has given us, which is Trump. You understand? You understand? See, that's why your arguments are retarded. And since For Really, you've been here before and you haven't been a troll before, I only gave you a day ban. Come back tomorrow. But please bring out the trolls. I want to see them because I want them out. I want them gone. This is a place for winners. This is a place for fighting for the future. Get the hell out. If you don't understand that, if all you care about is, I'm just going to sit on my butt, watch Netflix till Jesus comes back, bro. I don't want to get involved. Jesus is the only hope. We don't have to do anything here. God's is good. God's in control. Dude, I've been a Christian my whole life and I understand that is retarded. God puts people in charge of making things happen. So shut up, get out of my chat. This place is for winners. And if you don't understand what's going on, bring an honest, open question. Say, I don't understand what he's doing in Iran. I don't really like it. Can you explain it to me? Okay, let's do that. Be honorable, be respectful. Don't bring your nonsense in here. We don't have time for it. We don't have time for it. Lee Arsenault says, you're not a troll. I'm a patriot. Just don't agree on handling war. And that's why you're not blocked, Lee Arsenault. See? You did it respectfully. Thank you for understanding the rules of the chat. Thank you for understanding nuance. I didn't ask you to completely accept everything on surface, but you said you're still supporting Trump. That's fine. I answered your question, didn't I? Everybody else is leaving. Max Legrand, you let the trolls derail you for 20 minutes every time. It's not derailing, brother. I've explained 100 times why I do it. And so that's why I'm going to give you a timeout. I'm just so tired of this stuff. I'm so tired of this stuff. I really am. I just, your guys, this stupid stuff, 10-minute timeout for you for stupid. I'm so tired of explaining myself over and over and over again. It's important to counter these people directly. It is. Christina Abbott with a $7 super chat says, amen to it all. You speaking the truth. Thank you, Christina. I appreciate that. Chio Sat with a $2 super chat says, find the missing kids, search Democrat basements. Oh, you hear how Trump said sanctuary cities aren't letting them get the kids? Yeah, there you go. That's their basement. Chiosap says, even God can't steer a park car. Got to move it. I mean, he could, but he chooses not to. Thank you, Chiosap, for the $2 super chat. Alrighty. Let's get into it, folks. I had to set that today. I had to set the standard today, because again, we're in a war and this is ramp up time. We have roughly 90 days until the midterms. 90 freaking days. That's a big deal. We are inundated with psyops over and over and over again. And again, we have one option to save our nation. One. Okay. And so we don't have time for the games anymore. I'm going to call it out. I'm going to set the standard on my channel, and guys, by the way, you guys want proof that I don't do this for the money, that I don't do this for the attention, for the growth. You don't do what I do. I just did. If that's what you care about, you don't block people. You allow the chat to be inundated with bots and trolls to get engagement. You play the algo game. Am I playing the algo game, folks? You don't have to agree with me, but I don't think anybody can say I'm not authentic. I'm not who I really say I am. And because I'm doing what I just did, because I'm going to lose subs over it. And you know what? I don't give a crap, because it's not about subs. It's about winning. It's about giving my kids and their kids a better future. That's what I care about more than anything else. And yes, God bless all you guys. I care about that more than you guys. But that's how we should all feel, isn't it? That's how I feel about it. So, all right. Woo! Who's fired up today? You fired up today? You guys ready to win? Are you ready to win? 94% best community on YouTube. I love it. And the 6% who voted no are the ones who got blocked. So there you go. Oh, yes. Is this Micro Living Life? Another loser. Love our echo chamber. Goodbye. I'm so glad the trolls are coming out so I can see exactly who to block today. It's so good. Thank you for listening, Micro Living Life, when I asked you to come on, because I wanted to do this. Papa says, the only channel I've ever listened to and participated live, the only other channel I listen to is X22. Awesome. X22 is great. Kevin with the $20 super chat says, you're not, this only looks like a 20. Thanks, Kevin, man. You're the best. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. You guys are great. I love this. I love this community so much. I love it so much. Rumdog says, if you lose subs, they were losers anyways. Communists who hate America. That's what I feel like. Either that or they're just idiots. So, get them out. Bans will continue until morale improves. I got 4 bans already today. I think that's a record in my first half hour. Makes me so happy. So, okay. Ready, folks. Ready. We have a lot to talk about, including the rise of justice in our nation. Now, those who've been paying attention knows that the president ran on accountability, draining the swamp. We all have our list of those we want to see go bye-bye. Absolutely. And a lot of people have been like, where's the arrest, bro? Although to the credit of this brilliant community, I don't hear it much anymore. And I'm so glad for that, because people are finally waking up that it's a process. Well, the process is building. It is increasing as Todd Blanche, who's the bulldog going after people who already brought us SPLC, who's been ramping up fraud convictions, etc., investigations, grand juries. It's all happening. Thank you, Todd Blanche, a killer. He's an absolute killer. And they didn't want to vote him in. They did not want to allow him to be the official attorney general as when Trump nominated him. But today, this morning, the rhinos have caved. John Cornyn and Tillis have agreed to vote to confirm Todd Blanche for attorney general. And now they say, we look forward to voting to advance his nomination out of the Senate Judiciary Committee. And you're blackpilling? What caused this to happen? Well, apparently behind the scenes, Trump got Chuck Grassley, the 90-year-old who's still getting stuff done, pushed him hard, and he got them all in order. Mike Davis reports Grassley, it's too modest to say this, so I will. Grassley 100% brokered a deal and resuscitated Todd Blanche's nomination from near death. Grassley's Trump's most effective Senate ally. I'll beg to differ on that, but he's up there. Judges, DOJ, taxes, trade, but he also keeps up the blue slips, but whatever. But he does deliver quite frequently, and he put this together, and it's beautiful. And I got to tell you, folks, behind the scenes, something is shifting as these both, remember, Cornyn and Tillis politically have nothing to lose. Neither of them are coming back. Cornyn voted out. Tillis decided not to run again when Trump turned against him. They have nothing to lose politically. Why would they give in to the pressure? Makes me think that something behind the scenes Trump has some leverage. Is it possible he's going to be able to increase this kind of leverage to also do something like get the SAVE Act through? Who knows? But we're not seeing a major shift here. And I got to tell you, a major shift as far as like Trump giving up anything. And I got to tell you, the Democrats, the deep staters are pissed. Here is Cory Booker, the bastion of truth on the left, who is outraged that Todd Blanche is getting through. Ask yourselves why. But let's listen to Cory Booker have a little freak out this morning as he realizes they're letting Blanche through.
Ridiculous the corruption that we have normalized in America. That presidents' children can go out and sit on boards and make money. That is wrong and that is corrupting. But they have become so obsessed with the millions that the Bidens have made that they have ignored completely the billions of dollars that the Trump family is making. That is like being obsessed and using a magnifying glass to study the stain on the living room carpet when behind you is a mountain of excrement covering the living room couch and coffee table. This is so outrageous, the lack of proportionality going on my colleagues. It is laughable. This is absolutely insane that we have a president of the United States that has now made $2 billion doing what? Wow, he's such a shrewd businessman. Let me create my own crypto coin and have foreign nations invest in it. Oh, and by the way, if you are a corporation in America, put my children on the board and they'll get no bid contracts. This is the Judiciary Committee. We're supposed to be checking and balancing this nation.
Looks like a psychopath.
Why have people on both sides of the aisle given up on any trust in government? It's because we're surrendering.
What a stupid question. Why have people on both sides given up trust in government? It's because of morons like you and drunk Hirono right there. Oh, why are you a bad person? Every time she does a hearing, it's theater just because she's so drunk and retarded. They said that you did bad things. That's literally a Hirono breakdown. She's of course sitting right next to it. This is why we don't trust government, because of you freaks. Look how scared he is. Look at this outrage. This is they're terrified of Blanche.
Any shred of integrity left. And now we're letting an attorney general become the highest law enforcement officer in the land and putting no holds whatsoever. I had hope for 2 weeks that we would get something. 2 weeks that we would have something substantive to stop the world's greatest presidential tax cheat from cheating. And we've done nothing. And this man is going to now sail to the floor, and history is going to show it.
He's got like devil face. Look at that face. I don't think you can make that face unless you got demons inside you. I'm just saying. I don't think a regular person can make that face right there. Booker is one of the worst. He is so corrupt. He is such a fraud. So for him to go off like this just makes me giddy. Just makes me absolutely giddy about Todd Blanche. I tell you, why are they so mad? Well, what's one of the first things Blanche did? He broke SPLC. Busted them, outed them, showed the world the network they had, defeated the white nationalist lie that had been pushed by SPLC, ended their money laundering. I mean, is it hard to see? He's cutting out all of their mechanisms for making things happen, for pushing psyops, and for laundering money. Todd Blanche already done that as acting attorney general. This man gets confirmed. Watch out next 2.5 years. Ooh, boy, you guys blackpilling? I don't think so. I don't think we can be blackpilling. And you know who else is freaking out? The Epstein frauds. Yeah, they're the frauds. I'm sorry. I know it says Epstein survivors, but these aren't the real Epstein survivors. You know, the real Epstein survivors all got massive payouts years ago from Chase Morgan and the Epstein estate. $450 million total. They won their civil lawsuits. This was all litigated in the teens. Yeah, sorry, it's over. The whole, as far as the victims are concerned, they all got paid out. They're not coming forward anymore. Who is coming forward? The people paid by Reid Hoffman, who are playing games with Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna trying to hurt Trump. And they are mad as well. Why are they mad? Well, Cornyn and Tillis avoided meetings with them. I'm sure they did. Despite DOJ's failure to reassess its evidence to account for treatment of survivor support, they wanted us to go away, they said. Did they? Because Melania Trump in April came out and absolutely said, please come forward. Every one of you, we want to hear. Todd Blanche has said, my door is open. Pam Bondi said the same thing. Come forward. They are connected. Massie, Ro Khanna could have these women go on the floor anytime they want. Anytime they want. And they could tell their story publicly for the world to hear. And yet, all they ever do is complain about behind the scenes. Well, when you have access to everything in front of the scenes, why would you only complain about what's behind the scenes that nobody can prove? It's not hard to figure that out, is it? It's not hard to figure that out. These women, and by the way, most of these women, in fact, nearly all of them, if not all of them, in this group right here, they were all of age. They were all of age during the Epstein stuff. And some of them we know for a fact were groomers who helped bring more girls in. We know that for a fact. I've covered it before. If you want to go back and watch my Epstein stuff, go to my Epstein playlist and watch the dozens of hours I've done on covering this. But that's who this group is. But you see how they paint it? You see how they headline it? Epstein survivors. They make it, you think that these are the actual bad guys or the actual victims, but they're not. Erica says the Epstein victims, not the co-conspirators, did meet with Blanche and didn't speak to the FBI then? Blanche told them what he needs to bring indictments. Remember, 100 terabytes of data was hacked and destroyed under the Biden administration? Fact. But those victims weren't pulling the Soros-funded stunts back then. Trump was right. Total Democrat hoax. Here's the headline. Blanche meets with the Epstein accusers after demand from Republican Senator crucial confirmation. Oh, this was only 2 weeks ago? What? Why are they lying? Why are they lying? Well, it's obvious. They're just trying to destroy what Trump's trying to do. Once you understand that, everything makes more sense, doesn't it? Especially why they're so afraid of Todd Blanche. You know who else they're afraid of? Speaking of Epstein, Mr. Jay Clayton, who has been sworn in as of yesterday as the new ODNI. We love Bill Pulte. He served us well for over a month, but we always knew his time was temporary. He cut 30% of the intel services. He declassified much of the election stuff. Great job, Pulte. Pulte's gone now. They got Clayton in, who Trump was apparently targeting all along. Oh, and now he's in, and guess what? He's the one who knows about Epstein's financial inner workings. Yeah, we've talked about this. You know, the real Epstein story, trafficking, is only a small part of it. The real Epstein story is the blackmail, the networking, and the money connections that very few people ever want to bring up. Why? Well, it's not as fancy. And it all points to Democrats. Of course they don't want to bring that up. But Clayton is very scary for them. And he's now there, folks. And as all this is happening, you know, we got Fauci last week as well. And so there's an awakening happening as Trump is putting his justice people in their positions. We have the massive awakening happening because of Fauci and all that's coming out from COVID, which means the people, as they get angrier and angrier, more is going to happen. Here's Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show in front of millions of viewers, which are ESPN viewers, which means they're mostly center and center left. Uh-oh. Don't want them hearing this, do we?
A couple times today, because you've been very open about coming back for this year, last rodeo, and you talked about your wife saying, hey, have another year. Mike, is everything better? Is everything funner? Is everything more awesome? Like, how do you kind of view this year versus maybe the years of the past?
I'm going to plead the fifth.
That's hilarious. But he doesn't stop there. He beats it down.
Okay. Okay.
Like
Gotta love that guy.
Okay.
Like that absolute coward, Tony Fauci. Absolute coward.
Yeah.
Ooh. I don't think the normies, the center lefters, were ready for that one. I don't think ESPN was ready for that one. In fact, ESPN licenses McAfee. You know why? Because McAfee is the biggest sports show on television in the world, actually. Biggest sports podcast in the world. He is his own man. He owns his show. He owns the rights. So ESPN licenses it. You know what that means? They can't control it. And they hate Aaron Rodgers because ESPN's a leftist company, but they can't control McAfee having Rodgers on. And so Rodgers spurring the awakening.
It's back,
Are
baby.
you kidding me?
Yeah. 111
You
times.
got a pardon and you're in front and you pleaded over 100 times
Yeah.
at the White House. What are you scared of, Tony?
Yeah.
I thought you were the science.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought you were I am science, and you get up there and you can't answer a question.
Yeah.
Folks, it's happening. Bill Maher, Fetterman, Carville, all freaking out. We're going to leave this party. Rodgers calling out Fauci. The awakening is spreading. The awakening is spreading. It's beautiful. Now, to understand how all this is happening, this is justice, folks. All this is part of the justice because you get the people on your side. You get the people gung-ho, awakened. This leads to mass accountability. This is why this matters. This is why this is connected to justice. And I read this post last week, but there's more to it now. And as Joe Lang put together this wonderful thread called Mission Accomplished, Trump Got Everything He Wanted. I read this piece last week, so I'm going to go through this part quickly, but we're going to go through the other parts he put together so you guys can kind of understand what's happening right now. So Pulte came in, fired deep staters, 5 rounds, 30% gone. And Democrats and rhinos called for him. And then so Trump gets Clayton in. Well, Clayton is perfect for the prosecution phase. And his history is he was in charge of the SEC in the first term, helped playing a key role in helping DOJ prosecute people on Wall Street. But again, he knows the ins and outs of JP Morgan Chase, especially during the time when they were connected to Epstein. And so going through all this again, Bear Stearns, Wall Street Bank, Clayton has connections to Bear Stearns. Bear Stearns and Morgan have connections to Epstein. Clayton knows where all the bodies are buried. He knows where all the money, what was done with all the money with Epstein. Which brings us to Clayton getting in now. He's official. And part 2. Let's get into this because this is fascinating and important for people to understand what Trump's doing. For everybody who has been for the last year, Epstein, you guys understand that what the Epstein files actually were and actually are, as they're still being investigated, is the great opening to the connection, the global network of control, manipulation, undercutting people in authority, shadow control, shadow banking. A lot of it's in the Epstein files, which opens up all kinds of opportunity for real prosecutions and real accountability. The thing is, the big hoax was that Epstein was really just a sex trafficker. That's the big hoax. That it was all about sex and horrible things done to women, which did occur, but it was not the main aspect. And it's also not the main way to catch these people, especially if you can't. You see, Epstein, as it came out, he filmed himself doing terrible things, but he didn't film other people. They have very, very little footage of other people doing it. You know why? Because if it gets out one time that one of these famous people was filmed doing stuff with somebody they shouldn't have been doing, and that's used for blackmail, then the whole thing shuts down and nobody else will be a part of it anymore. Epstein will lose his control. So he went the financial route instead. And that's what most people don't understand about Epstein. But Trump administration does, and Jay Clayton does as well. Trump has now placed a key figure in charge of the intelligence community, Jay Clayton. He served as SEC chairman. That was valuable time spent looking in the inner workings of big Wall Street banks. His appointment's not coincidence. SDNY is charged of the Epstein case. Do people think that case is closed? Both Bondi and Blanche have said it's still open. Kash Patel said it's still open. Clayton now can look into Epstein's relationships with banks on Wall Street, especially a particular bank. Clayton worked for Sullivan Cromwell, specialized in mergers and acquisitions. He oversaw the acquisition of Bear Stearns by J.P. Morgan during 2008 crisis. He saw the financial records of Bear Stearns during the acquisition. How was Epstein involved with this? Well, from at least 2000 to 2007, Epstein chaired the company registered in Bermuda called Liquid Funding Ltd. Offshore accounts. This entity was partially owned by the investment bank Bear Stearns, where Epstein worked, according to the report. This bank's collapse helped set in motion the 2008 financial crisis. Wow, so Epstein is directly connected to the 2008 financial crisis? You see, Epstein is actually much bigger, not smaller, than people wanted you to believe. Epstein's offshore company is loaded up with some of the financial products like mortgage-backed securities and collateralized loan obligations that become synonymous with financial excesses leading to the crisis. 3 main credit rating agencies, Standard & Poor's, Fitch, and Moody, all helped Bear Stearns create the securities in a way that would allow the creative product to get a gold-plated AAA rating, which you would know if you watched the movie The Big Short. Epstein didn't work for them anymore. He worked with them. He had enough financial leverage to get his collateralized mortgage securities a gold-plated AAA rating. Do you understand how much leverage you got to have to get the credit agencies to lie on your credit rating? Yeah. He was doing this under criminal investigation for soliciting sex from a minor. How did a former math teacher without a college degree turn himself into a globe-trotting money manager with his own island? There's only one way that happens if you're a high-level intelligence asset. He quit working for Bear Stearns in 1981, but partnered with the bank through a special relationship with the CEO. When he returned to high finance, this time as exclusive money manager, his old firm woven into the work, the email show. Oh, there it is, the files. That's what this is all going to unlock, folks. Email show 2, he called the shots as money moved out of Bear account belonging to one of Epstein's key clients, Les Wexner. Wexner gave Epstein power of attorney over finances for decades. Les Wexner, who created such things as Abercrombie and Fitch, multi-billionaire. I believe he also created the, what was it? What's the lingerie store? I can't think of it off the top of my head. Tells you how much I've gone there. Part 3, Epstein and Intel asset. We're left with more questions and answers regarding Epstein's finances and elite connections. There's no answer to the question of why a middle-class college dropout was hired to teach at a prestigious boarding school. Nor has any information come to light explaining why a businessman like Wexner would hand over so much power to Epstein after only a few years of business. What would convince him to do this? Well, you can't separate Epstein's history of sex trafficking from his crimes with the financial industry. They're connected. Much of his financial success is connected to his sex trafficking with minors. There you go. Pair them together. From alleged sex schedulers to temple-like structures on a private island, Epstein's sex trafficking case is rife with strangeness. Strange is compounded further when one takes a look at Epstein's finances and how he amassed his fortune. Despite his reported worth of more than $500 million, the only known client he had was Les Wexner. How insane is that? He created both Victoria's Secret, there it is, and Bath & Body Works. Reason why it's hard to determine how he got so wealthy is he was getting help from the CIA. Man, you understand how crazy this whole story is, folks? It's so much bigger than what Thomas Massey wanted us to say. So much bigger than Trump hiding his Epstein buddies. Do you understand how long it takes to unpack this? Trump caught Epstein in 2019. Epstein was suicided in the prison. And then we had 4 years of the Biden administration coming in trying to hide and destroy the evidence. So the Trump administration is now working with whatever they still had and what they've been able to find. This stuff takes time to put together. Because remember, in the first term, people don't remember this. So for everybody who's like, well, Trump should have just had the DOJ in the first term keep those files together. Folks, in the first term, the DOJ was run by William Barr. Oh, yeah. It's William Barr's father who hired Jeffrey Epstein at the school. William Barr, Attorney General under Trump, first term, directly connected to Epstein, helped him launch his career. His father did. And you think that Department of Justice was working with Trump? Trump's first term was completely railroaded by frauds who lied and said they were on our side. That's why Trump needed the 4 more years. And it's better we had those 4 years to build a better team and find out who is loyal. William Barr. You think William Barr was going to put that together? I don't think so. So everything that's happening on Epstein has only been being put together since January 20th, 2025. This is a massive network. That's why it doesn't move so fast, folks. It's why it doesn't move so fast. Here's why Jay Clayton's appointments at SEC, SDNY overseeing Wall Street, and now DNI are so important. Been following a trail for years. Epstein's relation with Wexner is a small part of that trail. While it's unclear where they first met, Epstein and Wexner have been business partners since the late 80s when he was hired by him. In a New York Magazine article in 2002, someone close to Epstein said, it's just not typical for someone in such enormous wealth to all of a sudden give his money to some guy people never heard of. You think so? It's not hard to assume Epstein had dirt on Wexner. That's how the CIA operates. They leverage powerful and wealthy people and use them to fund their operations outside of congressional oversight. There's a reason why people like Wexner and Bear Stearns CEO Jimmy Kane were trusting Epstein with their money. There's another close associate who got wealthy doing business. Do you remember who? Clayton was given a newly created position at Apollo Global Management as its lead independent director over its board. Why? The co-founder and CEO of Apollo had been exposed as a longtime friend and business partner of Epstein, Leon Black. What are the odds that Apollo was forced by Trump to place Clayton in that position so he had access to his dealings with Epstein? I think those odds are really high. Do you see the recent story? Private equity billionaire Leon Black walked out of his transcribed interview with the House Oversight Committee regarding his decades-long relationship with Epstein after refusing to answer questions about non-disclosure agreements allegedly related to the sex offender. Just a coincidence? Oh, there's no justice from the Epstein files, says every retard who listens to Thomas Massie and all these other frauds who are only telling you a small sliver of information and lying about the rest. That's what the lie is all about. Let's get more into it. Leon Black, CEO of Apollo, had a long relationship with Epstein even after convicted of sex crimes. Black maintained social relationship with Epstein since the mid-90s and paid him more than $170 million for tax and estate planning advice. What? That's crazy. Epstein ran shell companies through offshore banks. Before the interview was cut short, Black faced questions about his decades-long relationship he first began to see socially. While Black acknowledged he saw Epstein regularly, about once a month, he claimed they weren't close. But Black was friends with Epstein for a long time. In email evidence, Epstein claimed they were close friends. Oh, that sucks. And we have the emails. He walked out after saying he's a target, not a witness, or realizing he's a target, not a witness. He needed to regroup. One of the key topics Congress asked Black about were his many non-disclosure agreements with women. He refused to answer questions. The NDAs weren't just between Black and these women. Epstein was also involved, and Congress already knows that, which is why they focused on specific questions looking into Epstein. Knowing Epstein had been involved in child sex trafficking for decades isn't much of a reach to think Black was paying so much money because he was being blackmailed into it. Yeah. All these guys, it was about the money. Yeah, they got blackmailed early. But see, later, it wasn't all about that nonstop. Epstein wasn't the person setting them up with the women to be blackmailed. It was the outsiders who blackmailed them to then pay Epstein so Epstein could be the networker. Epstein is a pawn in the grand scheme of it all. An asset. He wasn't the one behind that aspect of it. Black was issued 2 subpoenas after his refusals, one compelling him to participate in deposition, another to turn over NDAs. They said Black's attorney confirmed Black would appear for deposition on September 3rd. Next month, folks. Remember, this is bigger than NDAs, a possible cover-up of child sex trafficking. Clayton, let's get back to our current DNI. Given a new position at Apollo after Leon Block removed, Clayton was able to look into the financial records at Apollo and see all the business deals Black had with Epstein. Guys, do you really think these connections to Epstein and the financial services, Wall Street, the global crisis, that it's coincidence that Trump just made this man, the head of our intelligence services? If you think that, I have a wonderful oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you. Because this is, we're still at the beginning, but the beginning is about to shift into a new gear. Huge part of that money after Black paid Epstein happened after Epstein's sex conviction. CEO Leon Black paid child sex trafficker $158 million for financial advice from 2012 through 2017. This is after he was convicted. Despite knowing Epstein pleaded guilty to sexually abusing an underage girl in 2008. Paul also said the investigation by the law firm Deschert found no wrongdoing by Black or investment company. However, Black said he'll retire as CEO by the end of July. Oh, why step down if you've done nothing wrong? Very interesting. Last piece for now. When Epstein got arrested in Trump's first term, no one expected it. It caught Epstein by complete surprise when he was arrested coming back from France. He was meeting a modeling recruiter. You guys know many modeling recruiters are sex traffickers. Many modeling recruiters, many casting directors. You put it together, they lure young, beautiful girls in. You're going to be a model. You're going to be a star. They turn them into trafficked victims. The modeling recruiter Daniel Syed, his name appears 2,000 times in Epstein files, and he was found dead in his Paris home. 69 was discovered dead in his home in Columbus on Monday, 3 months after French prosecutors opened criminal investigation that had yet to charge him. He'd been trafficking children with Epstein in Europe for a long time. Syed's connection to Epstein ran far deeper than passing acquaintance. He arranged for Epstein to meet multiple models over more than a decade, continued seeking business ventures with him, inviting him to fashion events even after Epstein's 2008 conviction. Guess what? He's not the only one who recently died. Jean-Luc Brunel died in 2022. You guys remember him? So they were cleaning up their mess. Killing Syed in 2020, right after Epstein's bust, killing Jean-Luc Brunel in 2022. The net's closing on Epstein's associates. See, Trump started all this in 2019. One of the big fish in the net, Leon Black again. Which brings us to the current timeline. Epstein arrested July 6, 2019. Billionaire stood by Jeffrey Epstein about Leon Black. Deschert's firm, what we just talked about. What happened after this report? Jay Clayton joined Apollo, lead independent director. Clayton resigned in 2025 in order to join the Trump administration. 4 years he had to go through the books. And he went right to SDNY, which is where the Epstein files were held. You starting to connect the dots yet, folks? Pretty incredible stuff. Jay Clayton on at Apollo, then in charge of SDNY. Clayton walked out of Apollo, and SDNY put out a warrant to arrest Epstein at the airport in 2019. It also oversees Wall Street. Clayton knows far more about Epstein, Black, and Apollo than has been revealed. Apollo is one of the largest asset managers, managing close to $1 trillion, including several state pensions. Did you know they were involved in a huge bribery scandal with the head of the California pension? Coincidence? I think not. You see, guys, it's all starting to make sense, right? You have now the head guy who understands Epstein's financial connections probably better than anybody in the world other than Epstein and those working with them. On the outside, he's probably the one who understands the best in the world. He's now our ODNI. That's massive. On top of that, we got Blanchard, who Blanche has already shown he's willing to move the needle when he's got it all lined up. This is why Cory Booker looks like this when he's talking about Todd Blanche. He is freaking out. They know what's coming, folks. They know what's coming. It's all coming together. And recently, more of this starts making sense when you realize why the slow rolling, how bad it's been. As Don Bongino says, he learned how bad the corruption is in the deep state, how many of them have been installed there for so long. He saw it when he was in there, as he just says, which is why things have gone a little slower than you might have wanted. You guys got to understand how big the enemy is. This is also why it's important to understand why Pulte was put in to get rid of 30% of them. But listen to what Bongino had to say about this.
Folks, the greatest gift the president ever gave me was that job, to see this thing from the inside and then watch from the outside. There were pockets of information that were only available to, like, I don't know, 20 or less people in the government. They're called like billets. You have to be read into these programs. Some of them are super sensitive. It's not like a hey, blah, 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 blah. I'm just trying to make a point. So you know who was read in. And it's a limited handful of people. And you know they didn't leak it to the media because you're absolutely certain. And then you would see like an anonymous source about the same information. The anonymous source was definitely someone not read in on it. And the story would be totally backwards. The media never goes like, how do you know that? They just take it at face value because it's anti-Trump or anti-conservative or anti-Republican. I would estimate upwards of 80% of what the left-wing media tells you is either completely made up, maybe not by them, but by a source, a total lie just fabricated out of nowhere. It's not even that they got the source material wrong, it's just they just made it up.
They just made it up. Constantly from the inside, trying to hurt whatever Trump's doing. And they've been weeding it out. You see, that was Bondi's job, was to clean up the Justice Department. She fired over 1,000 lawyers and many others quit. That's a cleanup operation. When Bondi was done, they let her go. Blanche comes in. Now he's the fighter. He's the fighter. That's why they don't want him in. That's why they're so scared. That's why they had to paint Bondi as an idiot, which she wasn't. She might not have been good on camera, but she did the job behind the scenes. Bongino's 1 year at the FBI was setting Cash up for success by purging the FBI. And we have still a leaker problem, as we're going to get to in another segment. It's a major problem, and it tells you why so many of the things that we're told just don't come true, because they're made up, as Bongino said. But like he said, it's really, really bad. We have no idea how bad it actually is. But that brings me to Beck, as he reminds us what Trump told him before he came in this second administration. And again, after you hear what Beck says, it's going to remind you why Cory Booker's face looks like this. Listen to this.
It was harder to be president. He said, because I had no experience at it and I didn't know where the hidden trapdoors were, and I was surrounded by bad people. And so I was hunted. And he said, so it was harder that time. He said, this time I would say it's easier to be president. But this time I'm not hunted. I'm the hunter. And there's some big game going to be brought down soon. I think you're going to be very excited. I was like, okay, Mr. President. All right. It was harder to.
This time I'm the hunter. Do you think Trump is going back on that? Do you think he's really done? He just painted this picture so he could get elected? What in Trump's history tells you he lets stuff go? Anything? Can you name me one thing in Trump's 40 years of being in the spotlight, of being a dogged businessman, being an intense person, anything that tells you he's going to just let it go? I don't think so. To quote Kevin McAllister, I don't think so. Folks, Blanche and Clayton are exactly who Trump wanted in these positions. They are the ones that are going to move the next phase. So much of what we're seeing is part of an operation. And all we got to do is trust the process, because it is a process. If nothing was happening, Cory Booker wouldn't look like this when he's trying to stop Trump from getting his people. I think the next few months into 27, we're going to see fireworks. The midterms are going to be the crossroads. Trump, one way or the other, is ramping it up after the midterms. I can almost guarantee it. And it might even start ramping up ahead of that. But we'll have to wait and see. Okay, hit that like and subscribe, folks. Thank you for check it out this segment. I do have a lot more coming up, so don't leave. Don't touch that dial. So much more to come. But I do want to get into the chat, catch up with you guys real quick here. I did see Kevin says, let's see. I'm going to ban you because you voted no. It's not the best community on YouTube because your Fishing Buddies channel. That's okay. I accept it, Kevin. It's okay. Dante Joyner with a $5 super chat says Ace woke up and chose violence today. Patriots versus communists. I did. I really did. Take them down, friends. We gotta crush them. Kevin with another $20 super chat says he's gonna ban me, and another one says I was recruited by JCPenney for pants model early 90s. Sadly, I wasn't roofied. Kevin, you're on it today, brother. Thank you for the amazing super chats, everybody. And Kevin, thank you, man, for your extreme generosity. I appreciate it. Chiosab with a $2 super chat says, smell that? Smells like torched Fauci gnome. Aaron Rodgers is, yeah, he's got Fauci on the edge. That's the kind of thing we need as an awakening, folks. The people like Aaron Rodgers, Stephen A. Smith coming out and outing it all to normies or center lefters who might be gettable. That stuff's huge. It's huge. Okay. Dave Ricard says Clayton also knows the Diddy Jake Z case. That is fascinating. And you're absolutely right. Notice how all of that is tied to blackmail, connections behind the scenes, and trafficking, including Epstein, Diddy, all of it. So absolutely huge. Let's see here. Anybody else tag me looking for questions? Thank you, Rob. A lot of people starting to feel like stuff like that helps your eyes kind of like like your eyes open on what's happening here. Did I see the Richest show? They're talking about Fauci being fake. I did. It's so interesting to me. Okay, Sooner. Barr had something to do with oversight of the prison. I don't know if it was father or him. They were of the prison. Epstein suicided himself. Well, yeah. William Barr was our attorney general at the time. He was overseeing all of it. And so, yeah, he had direct connections to what happened to Epstein. Sir Pizza Sugar Mama says it's so much bigger than trafficking. Epstein brought children for experiments. 800,000 a year missing. Gates' dad was eugenicist, Planned Parenthood. I agree with you. I don't know how much Epstein is directly connected to all of that part. He's just a piece of it. But yes, I know that stuff's terrible. And, but that's for the people who really, really want to go deep right now. I got to focus on what the Trump administration is doing and how he's unwinding it a little bit at a time. But those kind of deep dives, you can find all kinds of stuff on Rumble, Odyssey, etc. The places that are dangerous. Do I think Tucker was connected in running interference? I got to tell you guys, at this point, I think Tucker, all of the fraudsters, all the grifters, they're absolutely being paid to run interference and to get Trump, get the people against Trump because they know they're losing and they're losing influence. They're losing their connections, their soft power behind the scenes. And so they're desperate. So yeah, when I see Tucker, Candace, MTG, Megyn Kelly, and they all turn against Trump at the same time, always saying the same narratives, Alex Jones, they all say the most ridiculous stuff that's so easily debunkable. Yeah, I absolutely believe they're running interference. Plus, most of them have or had CIA intelligence ties. There you go. So, it's speculation on my part, but it's pretty obvious speculation as I believe the circumstantial evidence is overwhelming. But thank you, Sean, for the $10 super chat. Kevin with another $20 super chat says, sadly, you only get 2/3 of these. Kevin, I'm happy for everything you give, brother. It really helps the show, and I really, really appreciate you. So thank you, man. Don't worry. I'm not trying to get, I'm not asking for more. What you do is very, very blessed, huge blessing for me. Okay. Anything else here? Let's see. People must be patient, says Joni. These things have to be done with precision like a scalpel. Absolutely. 100%. See, the Biden administration tried the hammer versus a scalpel, right? They used the hammer against Trump and against conservatives. And what happened? It worked for a little bit, and then it backfired on them. And then almost all these people are now free, because you can't do it that way if you want it to last. And that's why Trump is doing it the way he's doing it. Yeah, almost a whole year without Charlie. Isn't that true? DJ says Epstein files prove 80% of Q theory, secret government ran by elites, just waiting on the rest of 20% like UAPs, aliens are running our government. Well, the reptilian stuff is not from Q. Sorry, man. That's from people who say they are, are Q people, but there's literally nothing in the Q files at all that points to reptilians. I'm sorry. That's, and trust me, I've studied it all. So, yeah, you got to go straight to the Q files, brother. But you're right about the first part. Kevin with the 20 gifted memberships. Thank you, Kevin, brother. And PSYOP receipts with another 5. So we just got 25 new members. Everybody, welcome to the membership. You're going to have, I'm working on connecting YouTube again to Discord, because I'm getting so many more YouTube members again. And so that'll be open to you all soon, as well as the members only live shows. So if you want members only content, go to the community posts on my channel and look for members only posts, and they will give you the links to the members only live shows. Let's see here. Thank you guys so much. You guys are incredibly generous. All right. So, oh my God. Are we really saying, what is Trump accomplishing right now? Are you serious? I don't even know how to address somebody like that. Like, this is literally, this entire show is about all the stuff Trump's accomplishing. It's just, I don't even know how to answer that. How about you just watch the show and don't ask dumb questions? That's insane. Okay. All right, guys, let's keep moving, because I do still have a lot to get into. The thing with the aliens, guys, first of all, there are no reptilians. That is nonsense. All right. I'm sorry. If you do believe that, please continue believing it. I'm not going to fight you over it. I'm not going to kick you out. It's a weird thing to believe, but it's not reptilians. What we're dealing with, we're in a spiritual war. You understand that? We have what people call reptilians is actually, it's actually people just being influenced by the demonic, who have given their souls to Satan. And they're not actually reptilians. There is no intergalactic aliens, but there is interdimensional aliens, which is actually demons and angels. That's what even JD Vance came out and say after seeing the files. So just telling you guys, like this, there are conspiracies that go too deep and crazy. But, so let's just, if you look at it through a spiritual lens and understand that, it all makes sense. It all makes sense. Okay. Okay, but let's get into it, shall we? All right, again, guys, about to get into the next segment. We're going to talk about the foreign policy, what Trump's doing across the world to defeat City of London, the globalists. So we're going to get right into that. But before we do, please hit that like, that subscribe. And again, if you want to join, you can join here on YouTube, the membership. I recommend joining on Patreon, because first of all, Patreon is better to me. I get to keep more of the money. So you support the channel more by going through Patreon, but also Patreon directly links you to Discord, and it's just easier to communicate with members through Patreon. So if you do that, you also get immediate access to all members only lives. So Patreon is the place. The link is in the description. You get a free month to try it out. Okay. Oh, I've seen Carville. Yes, I know some of them look reptilian. I do agree with that. Okay. I do agree. Some of them look ugly, but you look ugly once you partner with the devil. It starts rotting your soul. It starts rotting and if your soul's rotting, your body rots as well. So, okay. How do you get a membership? Says Ballhead. Well, there's two ways. You can either join here on YouTube by clicking at the bottom there by the chat. There's a members option. Or you can click the Patreon link in the description, get a free month to try it out first. Okay. Alrighty. All right. Yesterday, President Trump, within all this Iranian stuff, remember, we had so many people being like, why is Trump making another deal. You can't trust Iran, which is true. You can't trust Iran. Even Trump said it. But we discussed yesterday how this was Trump's fig leaf to the Gulf states to let them have ownership in it, to show their sovereignty, to take their responsibility for their area so we can eventually get out permanently. That's one of the reasons Trump's doing what he's doing. Another reason is this. As Trump let us all know yesterday, apparently baddies inside the administration, some dark hats, black hats, trying to undermine Trump again, leaked some of the plans on Iran. Listen to this.
Mr. President, this is at least the fifth time you've turned off airstrikes against Iran since April to negotiate. What is your message to the American people who are wondering what has changed this time? Why should it be any different?
Well, you don't know. I don't know. I think we're going to maybe get something, but I want to give them every last chance before decapitation. Very tough to do what we have planned, still planned. We'll see what happens. But it's a very, very tough thing to do. I think I'm very proud of the fact that I'll give people a chance. This is a big move. To do an attack that big on a country, I'd rather not do it. Now, we've already, through lots of large attacks, but they were normal large. Hopefully they'll come to their senses, because what happened cannot have a nuclear weapon, but hopefully they'll come to their senses. So they called me and they said, please don't attack, we'll make a deal. That's the real truth, and everyone knows it. And who wouldn't call? And they found out through leaks and sleazebags, a lot of sleazebags, leakers. Leakers should be put in jail. They have to strengthen up the laws for leakers. But in this case, leakers helped, because they said the severity of the attack, and Iran knew it. They knew what was coming. It was going to come last night, and it would have gone on for a long time, and there'd be essentially very little left. There'd be nothing left. And if I'm given a chance to let a lot of people live, I want to give that chance. So I'm under no time constraint. I don't happen to be running, but a lot of very good Republicans are running. And you have a sick ideology taking place right now.
Very interesting. The fact that he said leakers, the laws should be updated, these leakers should go to jail, it tells me Trump is still purging this. And this sounds almost like a setup, as if he knows something's coming with leakers in general. Because what he said at the end there was, I thought, especially interesting when he said this backfired on them. Because by letting Iran know how massive the attack was that was coming, they scared Iran into potentially making a no deal. And tomorrow, Scott Bessent announced we'll be getting details on this. What is happening? Again, there's a lot of gamemanship going on here. A lot of strategy, a lot of back and forth. Trump notoriously sets himself up for multiple wins on everything he does. He always goes for big wins, and if he doesn't get there, still leaves with small wins. And this is, to me, one of those setups with the leaker. It almost makes me wonder if they allowed them to leak. They knew it was going to happen. They allowed it anyways, as if Trump already knows who it is. Very interesting stuff. But here's a little more on it from Trey Yangst reporting on it.
In the region, as the Middle East waits to see if a deal will be reached or we'll see a return to war. Guys?
So Trey, real quickly, the president talked about the military operation that was leaked over the weekend. It's obviously, they need to figure out who's leaking from the White House. That has to be someone high within government that put that out there to sources. It's our job as the press to cover that. But I'm curious from your perspective and your sources on the state of play that league played out in the Middle East, and who then phoned the White House to get to the negotiating table.
It's a great question, because these leaks can be substantial, and when you're looking at a situation with 50,000 U.S. service members, destroyers, refuelers, fighter jets across the region, the operational security is very significant whenever there are plans being made to strike Iran. And the president indicated he called off the planned strikes at the request not only of Iran, but also of Gulf allies like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE. What was interesting, though, Lawrence, we spoke with senior Israeli intelligence officials over the weekend who said they weren't even aware of the details of the plan. And that's how close the administration was holding these details to the chest, because of how sensitive it is in the region. And so moving forward, we do anticipate the Trump administration will do everything possible to ensure that they're not giving Iran a heads up. They want to keep the Iranians guessing as these diplomatic pathways play out, understanding that if the talks fail, we are likely looking at a return to combat operations.
Notice a lot of the things he's saying here, bringing in the Gulf states, which is what I talked about, how they want to get their input in, make them take responsibility for their own region, which is all part of the sovereigntist versus globalist. Once you understand that's Trump's ultimate goal, that makes sense for everybody. See if Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman, Qatar, if he gets all of them together and they're all policing this, it's much less likely Iran can ever rise up and be the threat it's been again, especially if the people rise up, which again, I think is Trump's ultimate goal, to have Iran back on the world stage, just like now Iraq is, with the new prime minister who is doing great things, purging his government of corruption, working with the Trump administration, allowing us to use Iraq as a staging ground for attacks, all kinds of great stuff coming out of Iraq, which who would have ever thought? But that's exactly what Trump does. And what he's trying to do with Iran by getting this administration out, getting the IRGC out, and letting the people take back their country. And we'll see what the ultimate success is of that. But you bring in these other countries. And then the other part is that Trump, again, he doesn't want innocents to die. He always waits as long as possible. As he says in this clip right here, I want to give them every chance.
American people who are wondering what has changed this time. Why should it be any different?
Well, you don't know. I don't know. I think we're going to maybe get something, but I want to give them every last chance before decapitation. Very tough to do what we have planned, still planned. We'll see what happens. But it's a very, very tough thing to do. I think I'm very proud of the fact that I'll give people a chance. This is a big move. To do an attack that big on a country, I'd rather not do it. Now, we've already through.
What he's saying is so interesting, and it really goes to, for everybody's like Trump just from the gut, he's a bully, he's an authoritarian. Well, considering all, that perspective, it's sure interesting that he often chooses the least authoritarian way. And, Trump is not bloodthirsty. He's just not. And we all have to be okay with that. In fact, that's a sign of strength, to be the merciful one, to be, that shows me, that's a leader I'd rather have than somebody who's just willing to go level stuff no matter what, who just push like that. And this is a break from the neocon way of doing things. And so Trump, as always, tries to win as much as possible bloodlessly. This is why he uses Bessent, and they do so much financially. So one way or the other, though, we're geared up and ready to go. In fact, here's some info on what could be coming from Jesse Waters.
Fox News alert, the big kahuna has been called off. Trump and Iran back at the table.
We had an attack that would be the biggest attack since World War II, and it would have been disastrous for them. And they didn't want us to do it. They said, please don't do it. And their neighbors said that too. And so we're just going to see whether or not we can make a deal toward the denuclearization.
Over the weekend, Trump said we were locked and loaded, but we're talking again. The Dow popped 700 points, closing at an all-time high. Oil's down to $80 a barrel. Trump says peace is good for business.
We're ready to go anytime we want. Would I rather make a deal? I'm not looking to kill people. Because people die, a lot of people die, and we don't want that.
In the meantime, CENTCOM's thinking up creative, unconventional ways to punish Iran. All options on the table. One source said that Trump even floated a firework display of airstrikes. Once the president gives the green light, our boys are ready to rock and roll. U.S. paratroopers are conducting small arms training in the Middle East, keeping their skills sharp and lethal. The Army's Chinook helicopters are moving men in firepower, equipped with a howitzer cannon, the fastest bird alive. In the water, our sailors are practicing deep-sixing enemy ships, firing Harpoon cruise missiles off attack submarines. Watch this.
military.
U.S. forces have eyes everywhere enforcing the wall of steel. You can't sail the strait without us knowing about it.
Captain, you are requested to alter course to 190. If you do not comply, we will compel compliance with force. This is Warship 45. We will monitor your course for compliance at this time. Warship 45 standing by on 16 out.
If any ship doesn't comply, say hello to the F-35. The blockade 2.0 has turned away 44 ships and disabled a deuce, bankrupting Iran hundreds of millions of dollars a day. No more shopping sprees for the gay Ayatollah. Speaking of, he better play ball.
This is the last chance.
Jesse cracks me up. Folks, if you think Trump, the latest psyop going out there is that we have now run out of missiles. Again, for the 5th time since starting this war. We've run out of missiles. They keep saying it every single time. Don't believe it. Does any of that make you think we're not in control of the situation? Trump knows exactly what he's doing. Exactly what he's doing. And here's a great post I found I feel like breaking stuff down pretty well here. It says, Trump is running a live command test across the entire Iran machine. MBS asked him to hold the massive strike. Trump opened space for a deal. IRGC media rejected terms. Hormuz was hit. Houthi struck Najran. The Iranian delegation does not run Iran. This is important. It's the IRGC that does. Works the microphone while the IRGC holds the trigger. The real test now reaches the trigger. CCP keeps the cash pipeline alive through Iranian oil, Chinese refineries and Hong Kong fronts. City of London centered shipping, insurance, and finance system prices the danger, determines which routes remain commercially viable. IRGC weaponizes Hormuz and Bab el-Mandab to turn open trade into controlled passage. China gets preferred access. London converts risk into leverage. Tehran provides diplomatic cover. IRGC manufactures pressure. Trump keeps pausing long enough for the command structure to expose itself. And there you go. That's exactly why these pauses keep happening. It's about exposure, but it's not just about exposure. It's about keeping them off guard, being unpredictable. Trump is excellent at this by letting the economic part just keep squeezing them until the people freak out and finally take back their country. It's all a part of the plan. This back and forth, peace again, peace not again, deal, no deal, all of it is on purpose. Trump is not a buffoon. There's literally nothing this man does that does not have meaning behind it or reasoning behind it. He thinks so much through, and then when he thinks it through, in fact, he's famous for taking in all points of view. He listens to his whole group, all the different opinions, and then he goes where his gut leads him. And that's the sign of a great leader. And he does it without hesitation, which is what everybody doesn't like about him in the establishment, because they want him to do what they tell him to do. And then they want it to go through all the processes. And Trump says, no, we got to do it this way. We're doing it now. He throws them all off. He acts like an actual leader. And we haven't seen this before, not in our modern history. That's why it's confusing to some. Ultimately, I again say, I had somebody reach out to me the other day. Hey, do you think Trump doing this is going to hurt the midterms? You think people are tired about it? And I said, no, it doesn't matter. Do you understand? If we come out of this, if we win, that's all anybody will care about. When Iran is finished, and however it ends, the people take it back. It's completely decimated and subdued. City of London's broken off. We're out. Gas prices are lower. Do you know what people are going to care about? That. And nobody's going to vote based on, well, Trump, he said deal or no deal 50 times. Nobody's going to care. But that's why exactly they want you to care right now, why they make such a big deal about it, to get you upset. And then you get that emotional feeling and you just keep staying there. keeps pausing it long enough to expose itself. Who talks, who fires, who funds, who prices it, who can shut it down? Iran's the front, IRGC is the weapon, CCP and City of London are sustaining architecture. Trump's forcing the hand above the weapon to reveal itself. Absolutely. Absolutely true. And as they reveal themselves, people are going to understand more and more what's happening. Do you understand, like right now, when this first happened, how few people could see the City of London ties, and now it's everywhere? What about China? How many people were like, China's going to jump in, it's going to be World War III? Not happening. This is also an exposure campaign. There's a lot going on here. Iran's not schizophrenic. It's being exposed as a managed outpost. Supreme leader provides religious seal. IRGC controls missiles, nuclear program, ports, proxies, and internal security. CCP keeps them alive. We already talked about that. The Quds force projects the machine through Hezbollah, Houthis, and Iraqi militaries. The entire process showing the world who runs them. Exactly right. Because every time Trump makes a deal, the IRGC then breaks it. CCP continually, China was the one who was buying their sanctioned oil. But it looks like this. And as Iran is being defeated, as Trump's fighting it, it's also unwinding all of this. It's weakening China. It's weakening City of London. We are weakening all of our enemies by doing Iran. And to the person who earlier in this show asked me, I don't understand Iran. I don't like it. And I said, well, if you did understand it, you'd accept it and be okay with it, because Iran uncoils all of this. Interesting how they hid behind the Ayatollah regime, the IRGC, for all these decades to control the Middle East and the oil markets. That's what it's been all along. China used it to empower themselves as everybody else cut off Iran. City of London used it to enrich themselves and maintain control. That's what Trump's unwinding right now. And it's not easy, but it makes sense. When you understand this, you can understand more and more why Trump is doing things the way he is. And the consequences are massive. We're continuing to watch Cuba get weaker every day as Cuba's national grid collapsed following blackout on Sunday. Again, Cuba, the City of London, the Fabian Society's outpost, their hub for infiltrating the U.S., continuing to collapse, getting weaker and weaker by the day. I think this one we finish without any bullets fired. And then that brings us to Ukraine and Russia as they're continuing to ramp things up. Ukraine just finished July as the biggest attacks on Russia they've done in years. The most bloody month, the most bombs, most drone attacks, etc., etc. 3 children now dead and 2 in critical condition after a Ukrainian drone struck a beach. Deliberate attack on civilians. Ukraine is now attacking civilians. They're turning into a terrorist organization. Why? Because City of London's getting desperate. They need this war to ramp up because they're losing Iran. They know it. UK declaring IRGC a terrorist organization 2 weeks ago for the first time tells you they're starting to let go of Iran. They know Trump's won there. It's just a matter of time till it's finished. Ukraine now is the focal point, and that's why things are ramping up there. As Brian Cates writes, as Trump makes his counter moves, NATO, City of London, transnational crime syndicate is frantically and increasing desperation trying to provoke Russia until World War III. It won't work, which I agree with. But more people will continue to realize NATO, City of London, the syndicate are terrorists, which exactly. We saw them kill 2 citizens the other day in a coffee shop, bomb that. And now this attack on a beach, a drone strike on a beach, civilians. Sick stuff. But this is who they are. This is who they are. And this is what our money's doing. Zelensky's appointed Umerov as head of Foreign Intelligence Service. He has 8 elite real estate properties valued at $8.5 million, 4 villas in Miami, 3 in Florida, 1 in New York. Zelensky's guy in Ukraine has 8 properties in America, and those look nice. Ukraine was always the money laundering center, folks. Always the money laundering center. It is. This whole thing is about the money. They cannot let Ukraine go because, first of all, it's one of their only ways of keeping war going and trying to get NATO into a war, which would try to pull us into a war, which would cause World War III against Russia. It's one of their only avenues of doing that is Ukraine. The other thing is Ukraine is where all the trafficking, the hub of trafficking for the deep state, the hub of money laundering for them, biolabs, etc. Ukraine, as even the New York Times said about 10 years ago, Ukraine was the most corrupt nation on earth. Ever since Biden and Obama in 2014 oversaw the color revolution that turned Ukraine into a vassal proxy state of the City of London and globalists. And this is what our money is doing as we're also watching them die. Their people being dragged out who don't want to fight in the military. They're old men, they're young boys. It's disgusting what's going on in Ukraine. At some point, this is going to end, but I believe Iran has to fall first. And I do believe this is their desperation. But Trump seems to know what he's doing, just like he started this year with Venezuela. Venezuela is so successful, and it opened up the free flow of oil so much more so that when he attacked Iran, our current oil is now at $76 a barrel, despite everybody saying it'd go to 130, 150. Never happened. Why? Because Trump did Venezuela first. And now even Newsweek is forced to put Trump was right. But there's a little more going on here too. Trump was right. Trust Trump. Trump shared this at 12:51 the other day. Post 12:51 on the Q post, trust the plan. And the White House immediately reposted trust in Trump. Again, you guys can say whatever you want about the Q post, what you believe, what you don't believe, but you cannot ignore the nonstop coincidences of connections on these Q posts. It's pretty wild stuff. Trump seems to know what he's doing. His team seems to know what they're doing. And if we let it play out, I have a feeling we're going to look back a few months, few years, and say, wow, all those of us who doubted Trump, which is not me, but many who did, they're going to feel really, really stupid. So why don't you guys jump on in now while the water's hot? It's a lot more fun being on this side of the show. I got to tell you, Trump is currently unwinding City of London. He's weakening China. He's setting it all up so that we can be a sovereign world again, of sovereign nations interacting without the globalists having their deep state hands and pockets and controlling nations as proxies. This is the ultimate plan in the war Trump's fighting, and we're winning. Okay, hit that like and subscribe, folks. Thank you for watching that segment. Next, we're going to get into the midterms and where we're headed there. But I do want to get back into the community right now. I did see a couple super chats came in. $100 super chat from Punchcat. My God, thank you, sir. Or ma'am. I'm sorry. I always do that. I always go to the sir first. But it says people have to wake up and realize City of London, EU globalists started their plans literally over 100 years ago. Trump's the first president pushing back like no other, and we're getting wins. It's going to take longer than 18 months. Abso-freaking-lutely. Thank you for saying it. You're 100% correct. And I would say it's even longer than 100 years. It goes back much, much longer. But it's been 100 years that they've had direct control in our government, in our nation. And even over 100 years, 125 years, and maybe even longer, depending on when you date the beginning of it. But regardless, you're absolutely right. This is a long-term plan by them to end our nation. And by doing so, if they could end America, they could have spread throughout the rest of the world. But it's not happening. Johan Woods with a $10 super chat says, thanks, Ace. Love you from UK. God bless. Thank you, Johan. I appreciate that. Very much so. Sean Dugan, $10 says I already read that one. Do I think Tucker was connected? Absolutely. I'll answer it again. Let me see if I see anybody who tagged me before we get into the rest here. Oh, looks like we had some trolls. Good job, Moody. Good job, Nick. My mods are cleaning up the trash. Love it. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. The trolls getting cleaned up. They don't like being blocked. They think their opinions matter. This is so funny. All right. I'm not seeing many tags. So the gay Ayatollah is standing next to Mitch McConnell somewhere in hell, maybe. Side by side. We're going to talk about McConnell in the next segment. It's going so good for that. So good for him. Raymond Weather says Operation Economic Fury is the largest part of this operation. Fury on a global scale, even within the Western Hemisphere, we win. 100%, man. 100%. A lot of people are getting it, man. You guys are awake, understanding that it's the economic war is the most important part of the war, or economic battle, I should say, is the most important part of the war. And we're fighting it brilliantly. Absolutely brilliantly. Kat says, London has billions and billions tied up in Ukraine. They've been supporting this war since the start. Not for them, it would have ended shortly after it started. That is 100% true. In spring of 2022, Russia and Ukraine had a peace deal in place, and Macron and Boris Johnson flew into Ukraine to Zelensky and said, do not take this deal. And there you go. There you go. He did. He got the pieces in place before doing it. So people who don't understand how it all comes together usually have to have a picture with MTG, Tucker, and Massey. That's hilarious. That's so true. So true. All right. Good stuff. DJ says, what are we going to do if the Trump administration brings out a live alien on stage? I will admit I was wrong. And yeah. Where'd this picture come from? It's somebody built it probably with AI by throwing in their information. AI put it together. Janet's with the $10 super chat. Thank you, Janet. Says, Ace, I was mowing the lawn listening to the beginning of the show. Epic rant. Please include it with your clip. Plan to share it far and wide. Okay, I'll clip it separately. Thanks, Janet. I appreciate that. Dongschlanger, Bohemian Groove. Epstein was also a gateway into a Pandora box of Moloch veneration, child sacrifice, methinks. Well, yeah. And here's the thing. Here's why I say it's a spiritual war, because we can trace Moloch worship, Baal worship, all the way back to the Old Testament. Okay. So this globalist cabal, this is the enemy. This is the devil system that he's been trying to implement through willing people since the beginning of time. And it's a battle we've been in nonstop. But here's the good news. The battle we're about to win, the war we're about to win, they will be more fully defeated this time than ever before in history. And it's going to set them back decades, if not centuries. Because now with the tech we have, with the spread of information, with more and more people being awake, with America growing in sovereignty and power, with Christianity growing at 1 million people a week worldwide, this is a battle that will be won. And once it's won, they will never be able to build in the shadows again, because the exposure is too readily there. Now they'll come up with new methods. They'll try new things. Authoritarianism, this globalist cabal, they're evil. It's never going to end until Jesus comes back. But this is going to be their greatest defeat. And however they come back in the future, it's going to look different. And if we stay ready, they can't win. They can't win. So Jim Hood says, been awake since 1970. I'm still here. You can't call me impatient. I want justice today. I will again tomorrow. I trust the plan. Most of you don't understand. I don't understand where that comment came from, Jim. I only think people are impatient who are mad that Trump hasn't done enough yet. That's when I'm being people are impatient. People waiting since 1970. Of course you want to see it now. There are people who waited since before that and never saw it happen. So I get it. But that's one thing the communists have that we don't have or haven't had, is the communists will be a part of a 100, 200 year plan, and they will set their sights on it, and they will be okay if they die and they just got a little bit of progress in their lifetime. They're groomed to do that, and they're prepared to do that. We are much more impatient, and it's why we lose sometimes, because there's definitely more of us, definitely way more of us. Lisa says, what are my thoughts on And We Know? I've been digging that show. I have no idea what that show is, so I'm sorry. I don't have a opinion. Sally, I see on Rich's podcast all the time, you have to watch the episode of Tommy's the Dog Pound. I watched Tommy's podcast. I think I watched that one. Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. I love Tommy's podcast. I wish I would love to help him, because he he wings it so much. It's not good for his YouTube growth, but his content is fantastic. Dong says, 1,000 years of peace, my vision. Thanks, man. I mean, yeah, I would love to see that. And I think it's possible. I do. I'm not a doomer. Again, you guys, if you watch my Bible stuff, I don't believe the Bible is as dooming as a lot of people believe with their eschatological beliefs. I believe it means something different, but regardless, I'm very hopeful and excited for what can come. So, okay. Well, I'll try to check it out, Don Julio. And We Know. All right. I'll try to look into that when I have time. So, okay. Let's move on to the next thing, which is midterms. Guys, things continue to get just worse and worse for the Democrats every freaking day. And it's glorious. I think it's so funny. And leading up to what's coming in the midterms, this is horrific for them. And they just got some more terrible news this week. As remember the DNC report that came out earlier this year that was supposed to expose all the flaws in their system, but it was totally fabricated, made up nonsense and not helpful at all. And this just sent them all in a tizzy and they're all upset. Well, it's even worse than that. As the author of their autopsy report says, the Democratic Party buried how their top brass got generationally wealthy. What? Oh, so they're laundering money from their people, their campaigns? This is the people running right now as we speak. Get money out of politics. Nope, they just keep getting richer off all those dummies willing to contribute to the Democratic Party. They knew Biden was going to lose, but didn't care. DNC chairman said he never saw it, but he was personally handled to him. Ken Martin's hunkering down. Listen to this. We won't play this whole clip because it's long, but this is fascinating. Just more bad news for the Democrats.
Fox News alert, major cover-up inside of the DNC. Leaks everywhere. Remember the autopsy report? They audited why they lost. Well, a chapter went missing about Biden, money, and the consultant class. More on that in a second. The autopsy's author says he personally handed the chapter in a 3-ring binder to the chairman of the DNC, Ken Martin, and said it was never seen again until now. Now, Ken Martin denies he's in on the cover-up, but this should be easy to figure out, right? Pull the emails, right? Wrong. All the emails wiped clean. They pulled a crooked, deleted for security purposes. The autopsy's author says he knows why they nuked the chapter. That chapter was basically the cause of death, why the Democrats lost. And this is what they were trying to hide. Quote, there are too many people who have become generationally wealthy off politics.
Wow. Now that's a pretty fascinating thing to admit coming from a Democrat running a report on their own party. This was never supposed to get out there. This is terrible for them. You understand that Republicans, Elon Musk, they have way more money to spend on this election than the Democrats do. Hundreds of millions more. And they haven't even started running ads yet. Do you know what this does to the ad campaigns? This is wonderful fodder for the ad campaigns. And interestingly enough, the New York Times was willing to publish it. Why? Because this is going to be a massive story. And they realized, crap, even though this is bad for our side, we have to get ahead of it. Maybe we can frame it some way. But that's the only time the New York Times reports truth, is when they're forced between a rock and a hard place. And this is one of those examples. Things are so bad for the Democrats right now. It's all unraveling as they are run by the corruption's coming out. The communists are taking over. This is nonstop lately. Bad news for them. It's their worst nightmare. It's their worst nightmare heading in the midterms.
And drive too much of the decision-making within the ecosystem. The people in the room at the highest levels of 24 decision-making misunderstood the mood and practicalities facing everyday America. The secret chapter also says the Democrat politicians got so rich that they lost touch too. Inflation, border, crime, they didn't care. Doesn't affect them. The secret chapter also said they knew Biden was going to lose, but they were too busy getting paid to notice. So they covered it up. And now they're covering up the cover-up. But the truth always comes out, and now the knives are out. The DNC chair has gone into hiding. Ken Martin. Sources say he's hunkered down. Paranoid after the committee sent him to HR for throwing his phone at an intern. Sources say he's about to get fired.
They threw their own chairman to the HR department because he threw a phone. I mean, if you guys think the Democrats are in a good position for anything, you're crazy. This is the whole deep state apparatus, and the Democrats now are the party of the deep state. They are the party of the globalists. They are losing it. They don't have anybody. They ran a bunch of morons. And one of the reasons all this is coming out is because they no longer have control. You see, as a party panics, as they let in all these crazies and are starting to eat their own, it just gets worse and worse and worse. We're watching a patient dying right now. They are in the intensive care unit and they are struggling. Yeah. They could still squeak out the House in the midterms because not enough people are waking up. They still have a massive disinformation campaign running that works, at least works a little bit. But I'll tell you right now, the main problem right now is not that the Democrats are growing or that the mainstream media is reporting nonsense about Trump. It's that the assets deployed on the right, the people who said they were MAGA, those people were deployed. And those people turned off a whole lot of people who really weren't following much of what's actually happening, but were listening to their podcast once a week. Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, whatever it was. And when those people turned, you created a mass disenfranchisement in the middle. That is the only reason the Republicans aren't soaring right now. That and the Senate sucks. So you get all that. But you look at the opposite side, the Democrats, it's collapsing time. This is falling apart for them very, very quickly. And it's beautiful to watch in real time. I'm greatly enjoying this. If you guys think that just winning the House in the midterms, if they somehow pull that off, which I still lean that they're not, but if they did squeak it out, if you guys think that this party that's rotting from the inside out in real time for us all to watch, if you think they're going to be a threat long term, I'm sorry. If we keep showing up, if we keep supporting the president, the MAGA movement, they can't win. They are that weak. The only way they can come is if we destroy our own.
We're hearing it could happen before the midterms, turning the party into a headless horseman going into battle. But it gets worse. Democrats say the party's a cashless dumpster fire. Their biggest donors are on strike. This year, George Soros hasn't given the DNC a dime. Last midterm cycle handed over $1 million. The party's a joke. Donors are telling each other.
That's a little misleading because Soros is still directly funding candidates. So the DNC is not where all the money comes from for these people, okay? The DNC is like their operational part of the party. So it's like it sets the debates, sets the primary states. It does help support candidates, of course, but so that's a little misleading. It's not like Soros isn't doing anything. He is paying the DSA candidates a ton. Okay. So don't like Jesse kind of missed the ball on that one. But it's still a big deal that the DNC might not have a chairman heading into the midterms.
Other that DNC stands for Do Not Contribute. They have alligator arms because the woman who left the party $2 billion in debt is surging into first, and she's asking for their credit card again.
I know this is going to be controversial coming from me in particular. We need to revisit the Electoral College. We need to
revisit it, honey.
Revisit
I got a new
the
accent.
point of expanding the court to 13 justices like we have 13 district courts.
So this is just more of a sign of their problems, right? The DNC is collapsing, and they're forced to run her at number one right now. And it's not guaranteed she'll be the candidate, but she is trending in that direction. She is currently the number one. But it's such a direct example of their weakness that they are even thinking about Kamala again. But they're all starting to get into it. See, their other candidates really going for it are like Pete Buttigieg here. Well, here's Pete Buttigieg basically saying exactly what Kamala is saying. You see, the commies are forcing them to be more open about who they actually are. And this is going to be terrible for them come 2028. But here's Pete Buttigieg expressing what he wants to do coming forward.
You're keen to remove the Electoral College and do it based on numbers, the quantity of votes for either presidential candidate.
And I still can't believe that anybody considers this radical. Like, to me, there's nothing radical about thinking the person who gets the most votes ought to be the winner.
There's nothing radical about a fundamental shift to our country and how we do elections. Nothing radical about that, Pete. This is the crazy talk. They're all starting to parrot this nonsense about abolishing the Electoral College, stacking the courts, but this is the commie pressure on them, you see, because the base, their crazy base, is now demanding this. So they have to be open about who they are. This is actually very, very bad for them. The more open they are, the more they will turn off regular Americans.
But I think people haven't thought through how much benefit would come from that. If we did that, there are so many votes in red and blue states that you couldn't ignore anymore. Like if you were running for president as a Democrat, you'd have to go to Texas.
Yeah.
And even if Texas is still going to vote mostly for Republicans, you'd have to turn out every Democratic vote you could in Texas. And I just think we'd be so much better off if a Republican.
It's easy for him to say that when, it's much easier to steal an election when it's just popular vote, because all you have to do is make sure the numbers get bigger. So all of a sudden, California might all of a sudden have 5 million more voters. Look at all the people voting in California. Oh my God, they're all turning out now. They're so excited that their votes count. This is why they want to get rid of the Electoral College, because they have New York, Illinois, California, some of the most populous states, and they will dredge up every single fake vote they can to overcome the college. The only thing that's protected us, slowed stuff down. It's the only reason we got Trump in 2016 is because of the Electoral College, which protects us from direct democracy. See, direct democracy is mob rule. Direct democracy is evil. It is wrong. It never, ever works. Just ask the French revolutionists. It doesn't work. It ends up being mob rule. And when the mob runs the country, it can fall apart very quickly. But that's what they want. They want that because then they can centralize control. You throw out a bunch of nonsense, free stuff, and then you can rig the votes. See, you take the states out of running their own elections when you do this as well. So all of a sudden, these states don't matter as much. Red states don't matter as much. Smaller states don't matter as much. This is what they want to do. This is their plan. If they did this, if they ever got back into power, this Democrat Party, as they are right now, I'm not saying 20 years if they've changed or if there's a new party that rises up eventually. I'm saying as of right now, the Democratic Party, if they got back in charge and they forced all this through, their whole point is to make this so that they will never lose again. They want to make themselves the authoritarians. Think about the stacking the Supreme Court. What if Trump started stacking the Supreme Court right now with conservative justices? If he started pushing it up to 13, they would freak out. No, you can't do, oh my God, oh, but they're outwardly saying it. You know, one of the awesome moves Trump could do right now, he could be like, yeah, let's add a couple more justices. Let's get to 11. I'll add 2 more conservative justices. The left would lose it. But they're out here saying, let's get to 13 because they, as soon as they get in, they want to put 4 more on there. And why 13? Because right now they basically have 3 votes they can trust every time, no matter what. You add 4 more, you got 7. And then it's 7-6. That's why 13. It's exactly what they need to keep the Supreme Court hard left. But understand why they say these things, folks. But again, Americans don't like this. Vast majority of Americans don't want this. The only people who want it is their crazy psychopathic base of about 15 to 20% of morons and crazy people. But that's how much control they have over the Democratic Party. They got to force them to be open with it now. And the more they're open about who they are, the worse it is for them. Here is the potential, probably likely nominee for the Democrats as governor of Wisconsin, which has been a blue state for a while now. This woman, one of the whitest states, this is how she feels about the people she'd be governing.
I wasn't always aware of the struggles of other communities of color because for me, assimilation always kind of took over. And so I did marry. My proximity to whiteness continues, right? My son is biracial. He's half white and half Korean. And I think navigating, what his identity is and how people perceive him is always at the back of my mind.
My proximity to whiteness. How dare my son be half white? This is how sick these people are. But again, the good news is Americans aren't ready for this. See, we're winning the war. We're winning the culture war. We are getting back to America. We are defeating wokeness. You know, a great example of it is that this weekend I went and saw Spider-Man. And I got to tell you, it was awesome. Nothing woke in the whole movie. It was just a good time. It's starting to move out. I know before that was the Odyssey, which the whole culture war exploded over. But I'm telling you, the smart people in Hollywood now are backing off of that. This was the first comic book movie I've seen in a while where no wokeness was allowed. And guess what? It's on pace to be maybe the biggest movie of all time, setting records. It's tracking ahead of Avengers Endgame right now. Massive hit. See, Americans don't want this. We want our traditional values back. We want this back in our culture. We don't want this. We don't want to be feeling bad about our whiteness, our race. We don't even want to talk about it. This is how they die, is the fact that they're being so open about it and they're letting the crazies take over. But we still have our problems as well. And that is the establishment Republicans like Mitchie McConnell, who nobody still knows the full truth of what's going on. Well, as of today, the deadline passed, and now we cannot have a special election to replace McConnell. So are we going to find out now if he's dead, brain dead, whatever? I think we're going to get the truth now because they held him out until now. He is going to be, if he pops back on scene or we find out he's dead, we basically just lost a seat in the Senate until January, until the new guy is placed in. That takes our majority down to from 53-47 to 52-47 with a bunch of rhinos involved. This is how they play their games. It's sick and disgusting, but it tells you how the deep state still takes care or still has great influence even on the Republican side, especially in the Senate. They held out. No proof of life for Mitch McConnell for 50 days, except for a couple of AI pictures. No videos, nothing. And now, no special election. They held out past the deadline. These people are gross. They hate you. They hate you. They really do. But, oh well. But there are still some fighting for us. We have now 20 senators pledging to work through the August recess to get the Save America Act going. We need to get this to 50. It's probably not going to happen, but it gives you a picture of who might actually be people that we can trust in the future when we get a more MAGA Congress. Mike Lee, Rick Scott, Tuberville, Banks, Moody, Darling Graham, Haggerty, Britt, Young, Blackburn, Schmidt, McCormick, Marshall, Risch, Cruz, Crapo, Husted, Budd, and Hawley just signed on. So 20 senators willing to try and keep us out of recess so that maybe we can make a push on Save America Act, which still has some hope. I still don't think it's going to pass, but I got to tell you, overall, there's hope. The hope is that the pressure mounts from behind the scenes and that maybe Trump has more leverage than we think. But we'll see. We'll see. At least the mail-in ballot order is being held up, which is excellent news. So, but again, there's a few fighters, and next year it's going to be even better as we replace several of the rhinos with actual MAGA senators. 4 of the biggest rhinos are going to be gone. McConnell, Tillis, Cornyn, Bill Cassidy, all gone next year. The biggest primary wipeout restructuring that's ever happened in the Republican Party took place this year, thanks to Trump pushing through in the primaries. So good things are coming, and kudos to those who are actually fighting for us. But looking ahead, you could tell they're scared because now they're starting to manipulate the polls more than ever. As this account says, you want evidence? Polling is completely effed right now. We have polls being shitted out claiming Republicans are experiencing a collapse in Alabama. Doug Jones got his ass kicked in 2020 despite being incumbent, but now magically the blue wave, which national polls on average aren't even showing that different from 2020, is showing the BS magical surge in Alabama, and they have Doug Jones within 8 points of Tuberville. That tells you when when they can only get within 8 points, how red Alabama actually is, which this will probably be a 20-point win or more. But again, we're in the summertime. This is when they manipulate the polls the most. They can get away with it because this is a discouragement campaign. They know that the funding is supposed to start coming out. The ad campaigns are going to start coming out, and the Republicans are in a much better position than they ever dreamed. But until then, they're going to keep manipulating stuff to convince you that we're going to lose and get you to quit, get you to not vote. But it's not going to happen because the economy, so long as they're not able to force a crash, as this turns around, it's going to significantly impact Republicans. See, if Trump fixes gas prices, which look, already oil prices plunging now to under 76 a barrel because of Trump and Bessent, what they're saying about Iran. But here's the magic. Trump and Bessent have been able to keep oil prices low even when we're attacking, not low, but much lower than expected. Nowhere close to 100 a barrel, nowhere close to 120 a barrel as predicted. Hovering in the low 80s and now dipping in the 70s, which shows you, look at this. I mean, dumping 5% in one day. This shows you how quickly we can get the oil prices down before the midterms. So finish up in Iran, even if it happens in September. Oil prices could be in the 60s, maybe even high 50s by the midterms. And people will be much more excited to vote for Trump, especially if we come out with a win in Iran. And by vote for Trump, I mean vote for Republicans and keep this going. So as the Democrats are falling apart, the biggest hits on the Trump administration are starting to be eased and get fixed, leading to good things. And then another good news, the Senate and the House just made sure, passed they advanced the legislation blocking a government shutdown through the midterms. This would force the Democrats to not be able to use their plan in trying to take the economy through another shutdown, which they did last year. So it would have been the third shutdown. This was going to be one of the Democrats' main tools. Now, it looks like by the vote, 89-4, and even a lot of the Democrats in the Congress don't have the stomach for it this time. They don't want to risk what this would do to them before the midterms, which is ultimately a good sign. The quieter it can be, and the more the Trump administration is able to just keep advancing their policy, focusing on Iran, getting oil down, focusing on their crazy candidates, the better that is for the Republicans in the midterms. So it does seem more and more like things are shaping up to be in a good place. I'm still watching the markets, seeing if they pull an attack on there. But if they aren't able to pull it off, guys, we have a very good opportunity here in the midterms to maybe even gain. And then, of course, Kamala in 28. And I don't think anybody's too worried about that one. Okay. Hit that like and subscribe, guys. I got 2 more segments coming up. Grifter Report. And then also, actually, we're going to just do Grifter Report today. I'm going to save this other segment for later, as show's starting to run a little long. But thank you guys for watching. Grifter Report's coming up next. Let me get into the chat, though, for catch up here for a minute with everybody who is tagging me or super chatting. Let's see. One of the many with a $20 super chat. Thank you, one of the many. He says, excellent reporting as always. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Chiosap with a $5 super chat says, all these companies bringing billions of dollars, trillions of dollars to the United States must know Democrats are finished. Trump ideals, Republicans now in control of the U.S. I mean, I agree with you. The ideals for sure. Absolutely. Thank you, Chiosap, as always. Sven with a $5 super chat says, Dems basically held together by nothing but district courts and duct tape. That's pretty true, isn't it? District courts and duct tape. I like that. That's funny. Rice says, like and subscribe. Thank you, Rice. Grifter Report coming. It's coming real soon. Kamal's wondering where her box wine is. She's like, over there. Over there. I like, what's the big one? I never drink box wine, so I always forget it. What's the big brand of box wine that's so famous? It's Kamal's favorite. We know it is. Gitz says, and Gitz and Shiggles are saying Republicans leaving money on the table by not loudly denouncing socialism and communism. Gitz, I don't understand your comment. Are you living under a box? Because that's all they're doing. Trump's been doing it. Mike Johnson's been doing it. They are hammering it. The reason you're probably not hearing it too much, Fox News has even been doing it. Probably really not hearing it too much is you're either watching too many podcasts or CNN. But you got to understand that like the ad campaigns haven't even started yet. They haven't even started spending the money on the ad campaigns. That will start. But Trump's been hammering the communism piece. I've been talking about this for months. So I'm gonna disagree with you there. Let's see. Wayne Robertson says, found your channel within 5 minutes. Tell you're an independent thinker and you see what Trump's doing. You're a breath of fresh air. Thank you. Blessings. Wayne, thank you so much. That means the world to me. I really appreciate that. Am I going to do a show for today's election results? No, I'm not. As soon as this show is over, I have to pack up my 6 kids, get them ready, and go to the lake. My wife's mother has gotten us a family like get together at the lake. I'll be there for 3 days. I'm still going to be doing my live shows, so it's not going to affect you guys. But I might show up in a tank top with a beer to do my shows, but I'll be very relaxed. But I'll still be doing my shows. But yes, so I won't be able to do a show tonight. And honestly, tonight's primaries are not that big. We kind of already know who's going to win. It's not like a Thomas Massie primary. So I'll start doing more coverage as the midterms really ramp up on like nighttime stuff. Betty says we only need 5 to make Thune step down as leader. The reason they're not doing it yet is because they don't have the votes to put someone else in. And until they do, they're not going to push Thune out. Betty Mongolia says, why are you the best? I don't know. I'm trying. I'm doing my best. That's all I can say. If you like me that much, I appreciate it. I'm just being me. Having a good time, fixing the world's problems, helping President Trump, people understand what he's doing. And that's, just being me. Dave Ricard says, imagine how much money globalist hedge funds have lost making the wrong bet on oil as Trump delays, strikes, or does strike. Oh, yeah. He has definitely been messing up the markets. One of the reasons Wall Street is so mad at him. They're so pissed at him because of how he, you notice how the mainstream media, Wall Street, everybody freaks out every time Trump does all this, like the on again, off again deals. What do they honestly care unless we win? They care because he's messing with their money. That's why they care. So you're exactly right about that. Read about Telegram. Why? I used to be on Telegram. I didn't find it as useful once once Elon set X free. Keith Hendrickson with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Says, please make a small and clear video of what Trump's accomplishing in Iran, the real reason. That way you can also share that video to people in your chat. Well, I do clip all my videos. So like there are smaller clips every single time I do some on Iran. The problem is that like today, when I clip the Iran segment from today, that would be a great little video to share with people. So, but thanks, Keith. I mean, it's a good idea. It's just, I feel like I've already done it, but, you know, I guess I could try to make something smaller, but it's so much information to really educate people. Like, I mean, the clip I just put out this morning, I mean, here, I'll show you. I literally just put out a video this morning to kind of do that. Here it is. Let me pull this up and show you. Oh, come on. I hate how YouTube is navigated sometimes. Again, Trump was... No, stop talking. Here's my video from that posted this morning, my clip video. It literally says, Trump knows exactly what he's doing in Iran. Once you see it all makes sense. So like, it's a good breakdown video of where we're at in Iran. So, you know, that, so I do try to do that stuff. That's what I'm like just trying to get across. But thank you, Keith, for the super chat. DJ says, midterm starting to look like 24, red wave incoming, say it, don't, I'm afraid. The problem is it's not quite there yet. See, and the reason is the difference between now and 24 is, Franzia, thank you, Sven. The difference between now and 24 is in 24, these retards were in charge, okay? Kamala and Biden were in charge. And so there was a backlash against them. And that backlash was massive. And Trump was as popular as he's ever been. Because he wasn't in control. Like there was no questioning of what he was doing. There are people, guys, right now, I'm just being honest, that do not get it, and they're not going to vote like they did in 24. That's why we're not building up to a red wave like we were in 24. The psyops are working, not overwhelmingly, not the way they want them to, but there is some of that psyop that is working. And that's, and that's why I do the Grifter Report and why we're going to talk about it here in a minute. So thank you, Gitz. I appreciate that. Petrie says, Biden's on video saying the N-word with the hard R twice. I've seen white people get canceled for less and not being black saying the N-word with the hard R while singing a song or quoting. I mean, it's true. It's true. Thanks, Max. All right. Let's get into the Grifter Report, shall we? It's not the biggest one ever, but there's definitely some stuff to talk about. So we need to talk about psyops, okay? The reason right now that people are dooming, or there's not as much enthusiasm for what Trump's doing, which is incredible stuff, is because a bunch of assets have been deployed. And these are the people who now label themselves the true America Firsters, who suspiciously all turned on Trump in the same time period around the Epstein nonsense from last November through Iran in March, which is when the last ones finally jumped in. Tucker, Alex Jones, Megyn Kelly, they all jumped in then. You already had the other frauds like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie running all this nonsense way back before that. And it's all been nonstop to get you focused on the things that distract from what's really happening. Whether it's Epstein files and completely misrepresenting what that's all about, what the Trump administration is doing, or Iran and acting as if this is exactly what George Bush did when it couldn't be further from the truth and more different, other than the fact that, yeah, we're attacking another country. So, okay. In that sense, okay. But every way it's being fought is completely different. See, the psyops are out there from these people who dug themselves into MAGA, built trust with us, because Trump is accomplishing way more than anyone ever expected. He's breaking the globalists at every angle. He's destroying the deep state, even within our country. He is building the cases for accountability of all the corrupt in our nation. That all takes time. He's doing it while facing a bureaucracy of unelected officials who populate our government, who are the vast majority of the people working in our government, fighting against him from within. He's been having to purge that. That takes time. He's having to build cases. That takes time. He's having to rebuild a completely broken globalist economy that was hurting every regular American, built on fraud and designed to make everybody else richer on our dime. He's having to rebuild that. That takes time. And so instead of what every single smart person who is in government and should know better, or in media and should know better, instead of them explaining to the people what Trump's doing, how it's building a new foundation, how it's working towards the future, they all jumped in on the same narrative talking points to tear him down. That's, friends, how a psyop works. And that's how you identify somebody who is completely on the wrong side of things or on the other side of things, because all they do is lie when they should know better. Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of the greatest examples of this, as she's coming out more and more saying new MAGA is repulsive, as Owen Schroyer shares these posts saying this is MAGA now, putting Mark Levin and Laura Loomer in it. Now, you could say Loomer was MAGA-ish until she went crazy and started going in on Ukraine and telling us how the Azov battalion's actually not Nazis. Yeah, Laura's gone nuts. That's a fact. And I don't think anybody in MAGA would claim her, and many would have before that. Mark Levin, never MAGA. He's establishment, neocon Republican, and we all have always accepted that. He's never called himself MAGA. Nobody ever would have. But what are they doing? They're lumping them all in, saying this is MAGA now. This is the PSYOP. And of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene adds to it. New MAGA is repulsive. So apparently all of us being on the side of MAGA now, we're repulsive. We're deplorables. Marjorie Taylor Greene, we might as well call her Marjorie Taylor Clinton. She's not any different. So if we're the new repulsive MAGA, Marjorie's the new repulsive deep state, because that's exactly who she's parroting, correct? She says, I want nothing to do with it and will not support anyone who doesn't speak out and stand up against it. Well, Marjorie, correct me if I'm wrong, Marjorie, but you were a representative who could have had some influence on passing things with your vote. You were voted by your constituents to support and defend the Constitution. And you quit a year early to run off to a mansion in Costa Rica, getting $5 million mansion in Costa Rica, while also still paying your daughter $6,000 a month from campaign money, leftover campaign money. Marjorie, is that America first? Does that sound America first to you? I don't know, but if the new MAGA is repulsive to you, then I want to be in it, because claiming to be America first, living in Costa Rica after making bank from insider trading and still paying your daughter off campaign funds, so a 20-something-year-old can make $72,000 a year on free cash. Yeah, that's repulsive to me. So I'll gladly stay on the side of MAGA that you hate so much, Marjorie. Very, very happily so. Now, Cernovich, who blocked me quite a while ago, he's been going off on Republicans and MAGA for this election. Republican voters are checked out. You got Tommy Laron doing, with all due respect, we don't care about reflecting pool as much as we care about gas prices, deportation. You see the op, folks? All these influencers joining at the same time. Matt Walsh, grocery prices are insane. They're still rising. Addressing this problem should be the number one priority for every elected leader. End the stupid wars and focus on the issue. It's one of the main reasons socialists are gaining power. Hey, Matt Walsh, you retard. How do you lower prices? Unless you go full socialist and just have the government start paying for everything? Because that's the only way to do it like that. Or, as a good old school conservative Republican, you should understand that the tax cuts and deregulation Trump has passed and implemented are bigger than Reagan's. And Reagan got a boom from it. You all celebrated that. That's how you get affordability, right, Matt? How about making us the world supplier of oil, number one exporter of oil and natural gas, energy superpower? Doesn't that bode well for our future, Matt? What are your ideas, Matt? You moron. But again, when these people who tell you they're conservatives and don't understand this, who are like, Reagan was amazing, but Trump doing the exact same thing doesn't work. Well, that, my friends, is how you see who a grifter is. And you're looking at a bunch of them right now. Nick Sorter surprised me because his reporting's been pretty good lately. He went in on this whole operation against Markwayne Mullin, lying about immigration. Says ICE's own data, which they released only 2 weeks ago, shows just 356,000 removals since October 1st. Unless DHS reported another 1.1 million illegals in the last 14 days, they're playing around with the numbers. Well, okay, but there was a transition going during that period. And now, the last 2 months, we've seen record deportations. It's ramping up. What Nick doesn't add in here in context is that DHS was defunded for 3 months in that period by the Democrats. That they were shut down, operating only on the shoestring budget they still had available to them. That's why things slowed down, because the Democrats, not because of Republicans, not because of Trump, not because of Markwayne Mullin. He also started pushing a narrative that Markwayne Mullin supports amnesty. Just an outright lie. You see, but it's all these guys. And we just see more and more of this happening. Tomi Lahren, again, if she didn't have a pretty face, she would be nothing. She's very attractive. That's all she's got, because this is, again, an outright lie. Yeah, maybe we don't care about the reflecting pond as much about that stuff, Tommy. But your job, if you truly are a conservative, you truly are a Trump supporter, which you rose to fame claiming to be, your job would then be explaining how Trump is doing those things like I do, or is fighting for those things. Cernovich, like this, says, forget young men, those are gone. 2024 is squandered. It's squandered, Cerno. But how about all the amazing wins we've had? How about the fact that Trump behind the scenes is doing all this stuff? Guys, these are just, again, lies without substance. They paint narratives and they don't actually show you the data or the details of what's really happening. They just throw stuff out there. And then, of course, Marjorie pulls them all together and says, it's all Trump's fault. Covering up his friends in the Epstein files, going to war with Iran, not to mention not holding anyone accountable like Fauci, whom he loves. What? Show me one thing that proves that Trump loves Fauci. But see, these people just lie. They just throw out nonsense, which is insane. But thankfully, we have people like Erica here who are spending a whole lot of time calling them out. Erica says, just another doomer con on this platform. It's really getting old. There's zero variation in the messaging, no win, sell rage, constant demoralization designed to destroy. It's disgusting. Here's a win today. Highest U.S. manufacturing in 4 years. Oh, and that's true. We just got those numbers. But again, what she says here is so important. What do I tell you guys? A PSYOP, the number one way to tell it's a PSYOP is it's blackpilling. Blackpilling, they want you discouraged, they want you demoralized, so they blackpill. And like she said, they don't celebrate the wins. When somebody claims to be a conservative, when somebody claims to be MAGA or America First, and they do not celebrate the wins from Trump, the massive wins, they don't celebrate how much better it is without Kamala being in charge. When they don't do that, when they don't tell you that without Trump, there is no other option as of right now, or they try to steer you towards the establishment wing of the Republicans. When they do that, folks, when they say Tucker Carlson should be the next president, that is how you know it's a psyop. And they're just trying to destroy the MAGA movement. And they have no reason for that. Because as conservatives, they should be celebrating it. I'm a lifelong conservative, Christian conservative, raised up Christian. Since I first got interested in politics at 16, 17 years old, I have been a conservative. And I'll tell you right now, as somebody who's been following politics closely for 25 years, Trump is the greatest conservative president we've ever had. He is the best. We have gotten more done with him than anyone else. Nobody comes close. That is an absolute objective fact. No one has advanced the conservative agenda more than President Trump, ever. And so for them to be dooming tells me they are frauds. I can say that as somebody who's been following this stuff for 25 years, who has dreamed of the day I'm getting a lot of the stuff Trump's getting us. So they're liars. And they are not who they say they are. And that's how I know, because I am one of them, or at least who they say they are. But I'm the real deal, and they're not. And every single true conservative knows it's true. Trump is the dream president we always wanted. Because once you understand the processes, stuff takes time. But nobody has come close. And so anybody who's a conservative who is complaining about Trump, you're either fraudulent or you're retarded. There's just no other answer, because you should be stoked that we have more going for us. Trump is better than Reagan, way better than Bush, better than Nixon. Go back. I mean, I don't even know who else you'd consider a conservative going back from that. Eisenhower. He's better than all of them, and it's not close. It's not even close. And these people, man, they're just getting crazier and crazier with how outward they're being about this stuff. Here's Max Blumenthal, which, by the way, employs Joe Kent's wife. Not only that, has paid Joe Kent to write for him after he got let go or dropped out after being a leaker in the intelligence community and came out against Trump. Here's Max Blumenthal, who's tied to these people. And this is exactly, kind of gives you an insight of what these people really think.
But to me, that really says that you have tapped into the American psyche and you have kind of shattered the MAGA psyche from Iran.
This is what happens. I think, to speak a bit more politically, this is the new platform order. Just as a political order exists among governing powers, a political order also exists on platforms, and we can't deny it. But I think from now on, we can talk about what to do to change this order. I think knowing the Americans, it's not a difficult thing. This is how we know the Americans. I think we reverse engineer the operations they want to carry out against us. Why? Because they carry out media operations against us based on their own assumptions. When we reverse engineer their media operations and, so to speak, try to see what concepts they use to attack us, we can understand that their laboratory subject, their case study, is the American audience, and we use that very same thing against them.
Why is Blumenthal and all these influencers so quick to defend the radical Islamic countries that are trying to subvert us, propagandize us, I should say, attack us? Why? Why are they all in on that? Well, if you trace it back and we look at Iran specifically, the connections to the City of London and how they run deep state ops, soft power all the time through MI6, Mossad, CIA, you name it, how they operate all that. Well, it makes sense then that one of their operations is to funnel through the Islamic states that are willing to work with them. This is why you see people like Tucker going all in and spouting off nonsense like this, where he had Martyr Made. who I used to listen to this guy's podcast because his historical podcasts are fascinating. He did some good work. I'm not going to deny it. Just like Tucker once upon a time did good work. But they've gone full in on now trying to make Trump be the deep stater, trying to destroy the MAGA movement. And in regards to the latest attack on Spain, the invasion of Spain of Ceuta, whatever it is, I can't pronounce it. Here's Tucker and Daryl Cooper, aka Martyr talking about where that invasion came from.
In the days following, it became really clear that this was not organic at all.
True.
That the Israeli government and the U.S. government, well, obviously knew this was happening, and basically was both governments were using mass migration as a weapon against a government that they don't like for various reasons, mostly because it's anti-Israel. And people are shocked to discover this. Were you shocked to discover that?
Again, kinda.
This stuff is insane. Obvious coming from Israel, obvious coming from the U.S. They tried to propagandize that the other day with Thomas Massey lying and sharing about what the Congress had passed when it wasn't even in a bill. And it also didn't directly tie this to Morocco and Spain. They are lying, as I covered yesterday with Massey. Well, now Tucker's spreading it. Funny how they all do the same talking points at the same time. Isn't that amazing? This is the latest PSYOP. Let's blame the mass migration, which we know is one of the deep state City of London globalist tools, because it's happening in England, UK, France, Germany, etc., Spain. Why is it only happening in those places? Why was it happening here when Biden was in charge? When the globalists were in charge of our country? And all of a sudden we're supposed to believe that Trump is actually behind the mass migration, using it as a weapon? Oh my God. That's what we call deflection, folks. That's what we call, as Nancy Pelosi said so many years ago, out with it, that, deflection is when you blame them for what you're doing, to get the attention off you. That's what's happening right now. And that is about as obvious as it gets. The egregious, and I say egregious because it's so obviously and so stupid, fact that they're trying to blame mass migration now on Trump and Israel instead of the globalists who are behind it all along and are still behind it everywhere. That's insane, folks. It's literally insane. But, it's who these people are. It's who these people are. And they're going to keep pushing. Here's Joe Kent yesterday on Piers Morgan admitting about how they're trying to create a new political party.
Photograph that emerged over the weekend. And you were in this picture. It was at Tucker Carlson's home. You're in there with Marjorie Taylor.
Hold on. Fag, grifter, fag, douchebag, don't know, fraud. That covers it pretty well, right? Yeah. I actually made a graphic of this with all those labels, posted on X, and was shared by Buzz Patterson. Thanks, Buzz, for sharing that. Buzz Patterson, awesome guy.
Green, Thomas Massey, Tucker. What was this? There is word that you're all planning, as Marjorie Taylor Greene put it, a new political movement. What is the movement? Could it be an actual party? What was going on?
Things are in the initial phases right now, but there is a growing consensus on, I think, both the right and the left of people who are sick and tired of the Republican Party. They're sick and tired of the Democrat Party. They want us out of these foolish wars that we're just sitting here talking about right now. Most Americans have no idea what we're talking about. They don't know about Gaza. They don't know about the Straits of Hormuz. They just know that billions of their taxpayer dollars, their blood, their treasure, their sons and their daughters continue to get sent overseas. Our best and brightest get killed. Our taxpayer dollars get spent over there while things continue to decay here in America. And so what we're trying to do is just build a coalition of people who say we're finally going to put America first. We're not going to focus on the next foreign war. We're not going to listen to foreign lobbies like AIPAC and like the Israelis. We're going to focus on the issues that matter here to the American people. And those of us that were there at that table, myself, Tucker, Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and there's others as well. We are, I think, people
There's not
who are
that many others. when he says there's others as well, there's not that many. These people have a platform because they tied themselves to Trump and either got elected or media propped them up. But the thing is, there are very, very few of these people. It's just that they have a little bit of a platform still. And so they want you to think they're much bigger than they are. But when he said that like that, you can kind of tell that he knows there's not that many of them. I mean, let's listen to that again real quick.
See Marjorie Taylor Greene. And there's others as well.
And there's others as well. That's what I say, or I would say, if I'm trying to like create the illusion of something that I want to get a point across, but I don't really have any information on it. As you know, instead of saying like, there are hundreds with us, we get calls every day. That was a cop-out answer. And that tells you that they know they don't really have any support. But again, why are they doing this? The whole point is to just get 2 to 5% of people in America to vote for them so they can ruin 2028 for MAGA. That is what they're trying to do.
We are, I think, people who initially were part of the MAGA movement, the Trump Republican Party, but we feel that we.
You were frozen in mid sentence.
That was God shutting him up. That was God like, shut up, kid. We're not going to hear any more of your nonsense.
Oh, sorry, Joe. You were frozen right at the end there. Just to be clear, though, before we close things, could this involve establishing a new party?
Look, it certainly could. I mean, if you talk to most Americans out there, they're sick of the Republican Party. They're sick of the Democrat Party. They do want something that actually represents their interests. And again, we don't want any more foreign wars.
He's literally saying the exact same thing all over again. I mean, Joe Ken's not a smart person. I don't know if you guys have noticed that about him. He is, he's really not a smart guy, but, but you know, for some reason people keep putting him on, and it's because they just need someone that they can say is an insider. He's ex-military. They believe that'll all give him credibility. But the dude's not very smart, as I've shown many times in other examples on him showing up on these things. Especially my favorite was when he went on Piers Morgan against Will Chamberlain. Will Chamberlain destroyed him. But anyways, Joe Ken, always good for a laugh because he's so stupid. But with all that being said, like, this is a great post that just really explains how I feel about all this from Cynical Publius. And this is honestly, if these people were legitimate, okay, whether it's Kent, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson, you could go Alex Jones, Dave Smith, you know, on and on and on. All these grifters I cover on a regular basis. If they were who they said they were, if they actually cared about winning and they knew their political history and they knew how the government works and all these things they should know by either having served in the government or having covered it for years or decades, like Tucker in Tucker's case, they should know all this. They have no excuse to not have this information, which tells you they are either lying or retarded. And I'm going to go with lying and being paid for it because it's also coordinated. Because what Cynical has in this post, as I'm going to read here, is exactly the mentality all of us should have that care about America moving forward. And recognizing that what Trump is, whether you love everything he does or not, is still massively better than every other option we've had in our history, especially in modern history. But let me go through this. Excuse me real quick. I had to sneeze. Must have been a demon attack from Tucker. Says, as we watch Tucker and his elite group of emotionally wounded narcissists, so good, do everything they can to destroy the Republican Party and hand the federal government to literal communists, who knows why they are doing this? I can tell you why. Money. Or they're actually part of the Fabians who want to do this. Yep, that's why. I think it's important Republicans understand Democrat tactic of always uniting behind their candidates so we can adopt the same approach. Here's a personal example. I'm not sure who I'll support for President 28. I used to think it would be a slam dunk for JD, but some of his associations his connections, his handling of Iran give me pause. I've not really dug deep in any of this yet, so it could be I'm being superficially swayed by false reports. But the fact is, I may choose a preferred presidential candidate for GOP that's not the choice of other Republicans. That's okay. As we swing into primaries, which should heat up after 26 midterms, we in the GOP should vigorously debate who we want. Vance, DeSantis, Rubio, Gabbard. Let the arguments flow. Be fierce, be committed, stand by your beliefs, fight for your candidate. That is America. Amen. But know this, whomever I support, once the GOP candidate's chosen, that's my candidate who I'll fight for tooth and nail. Amen. And as he says here, the alternative is literal communists. In other words, we don't have an alternative. So whoever wins that primary, whether it's Vance, Rubio, DeSantis, everybody who cares about the future of this country, who actually likes America, has a duty to get behind them because they're the only chance to win. They're the only chance to advance anything. This is why I have such a problem with all the people who are like, never Vance. I'm like, fine, distrust Vance. Don't vote for him in the primary. Vote for Rubio. Go for it. Although Rubio's not going to run against him, so good luck with that. But anyways, go for it. But if Vance is chosen as the nominee, if you don't get behind him, you're a fraud to me. I'm sorry, you are. Because a not vote for Vance is going to be a vote for Kamala. And whatever Vance does, even if he is a sycophant for the technocrats, well, guess what? He's still better than the alternative. And we'll still get more wins with him, and then we'll just have to fight to slow down everything else. You understand? That's how it works. I love JD Vance. I'm not the one who has a problem with him, but my point is, I hear people who say that, and it's retarded because we get one shot at this, folks. One shot at this. We go back to the Democrats. You've already heard what they'll say. They'll do. Pack the Supreme Court, abolish the Electoral College. They are the literal communists. And whatever Vance is, like him or not, he's not that. Too many on the right let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Yes. Thank you. Libertarians, for one. America Firsters, for one. So stupid. If you have some pet grievance against Trump causes you to shut down, walk away, then you don't see the big picture. I.e. the alternative big picture where President Kamala ran roughshod over the Constitution, opened up our borders to millions of illegals demanding handouts from your tax dollars. Exactly. Does the GOP suck in its current incarnation? Yes, it does. We can all admit that. Senate is terrible. But the alternative is literal communists. So the way to do the most good is to fight fiercely for incremental change in the party to support who it nominates. That is exactly right. See, he gets it. Carlson Massey, MTG style of I'm taking my ball and going home causes grievous harm to America, hands it to its enemies. Yep, just like I said at the very beginning of my live show today. There's a difference between fighting for your candidate and ultimately supporting the nominee and purposely destroying your party so the bad guys can take power. Yes. There's a mutable reality too many on the right fail to understand. I get it. You don't like it. It makes you mad. It's reality. You can do nothing to change. So the only solution that will actually advance the goals you seek is to operate within the framework we are stuck with and try to change it incrementally best we can. 100%. Anybody who is everything all at once, the perfect or nothing, is an idiot. They're an idiot or they're an asset for the other side. Because if you're not okay with a little bit of change going forward, I'm not saying you have to stop there. You'd be stupid to stop there. I'm not saying you'd be okay with it never advancing. Of course not. But if you get progress at all, it needs to be celebrated. Because folks, like it or not, we live in a system of laws, a system under a constitution that we all love. It's the greatest government the world has ever seen created. And honestly, I don't know if anyone's getting better. So are we going to accept the limits of the greatest system ever? Those limits, which by the way, also protect us when the bad guys are in control. Are we going to accept those limits and work to make change, sometimes incrementally? Or are we going to cry like a little baby when we don't get our way perfectly and say, I don't want to do this anymore. These guys suck. They're not for me. Okay. Welcome to communism. Welcome to Losersville. That's loser think. That's pathetic. And I have no time for anybody who thinks like that. And honestly, you shouldn't either. It's the losers like that who will end us up with another Obama or somebody much, much worse, like any of the Democrats currently running. So we have this framework. We are going all in because, again, if we don't, the alternative is communists. Like it or not, that's the freaking truth. I'm just here to deliver it. So looking ahead, we win. We go all in. We stay together. We fight as one. And we can have our disagreements when it's time for that. But when it's time for the big fight, we go together. That's how we defeat the psyops. And that's also, it's the people not willing to do that. You can recognize, to me, they're worse than the enemy. There's a word for Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Alex Jones, Joe Kent, all these people who are choosing now to do the debate when we're in the middle of the war. There's a word for that. It's called Benedict Arnold, AKA traitors. And that's who these people are. All right, folks. If you enjoyed today's show, please hit the like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support the channel, you can always send super chats or join membership. I'm a viewer-supported channel. And having said that, let me get into the chat and catch up with you guys before we end today. So much going on. I actually had to hold off 2 segments today because today went long, but that's okay. We'll get to them later. All right. No other super chats came in, which is fine. Thank you guys for everybody who did donate today. I really, really, really appreciate it. You guys keep the show going. But the like and subscribes really help. Let me see if anybody's tagged me for anything. And then if not, I'm going to try to get into the, I do see one. I speak for you with a $10 super chat. Says, can't stand MTG. Hypocritic biatch. MAGA mater and so glad MAGA take her down. Amen, friend. Absolutely. Amen. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And then there was another one. $5 from Sven said, Cernovich in 2020 was saying vote Democrat, take away Mitch's previous judges, confirming ability. Cerno was mad about Spendingville vote. Exactly. These people are frauds, and they have been for a long time. Thank you, Sven, for the $5. John Carew with a $5 super chat says, thanks for being a true MAGA voice. Thank you so much for your super chat. I'm trying to do my best, and I always will. Kevin Copperland with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Kevin. Says, MTG Shippo old be grifter. Shippo old be grifter. I can't even read that. But thanks, man. I appreciate the support. That's hilarious. You did make me laugh. Great stuff. Saw a couple trolls came in, got busted. Love it. So glad they're gone. Well done, mods. You guys keeping this place nice and clean. Great place for regular people to talk. Kinfolk says, let me understand this. When I listen to podcasts from the left, one of the main gripes with the right, everybody are election deniers and Trump wasn't going to certify. While at the same time, they refuse to put systems in place to guarantee validity of the elections and make the results undeniable. Honestly, seems like a no-brainer. Kinfolk, I'm going to say this as nicely as I can. What's there to understand? I'm being funny. Let me say, be honest here. Why do they do that? Well, because number one, they want you to believe that the system is perfect as it is, so they can keep cheating. Okay, that's number one. So they don't even acknowledge that there's an issue, because once they acknowledge there's an issue, that opens a can of worms for people to fix it. Just like in New Jersey, when their governor just admitted 6,600 illegals had been registered to vote. They hate that because that opens the door. That's why they all stay with you can't, we don't need to do anything. Our elections are fine. And then that's the projection. Now they label election denierism as basically like a social evil. And so it's to assume the moral high ground and tear down those who have questions so that they can act as if it's obvious our elections are fine. That's why they do it. John Casey versus Eric Burleson. Opinion. Why do I know those names, but I'm not quite sure what the part is. So sorry about that. How big of a fit would the left throw if the first woman president was a Republican? It would be glorious. It would be so glorious. Let's see here. We got a couple new members. MJK, welcome to the membership. Scruffette Storm, welcome to the membership. Thank you for supporting. I really appreciate the support, guys. You now have access to all the members' lives, and Discord is set up through YouTube very soon. It is definitely it's easier to get there from Patreon, but if you have a Discord server or you Discord and you connect it to your YouTube account, you should be able to easily get into the Discord. Moody's trying to get those likes up. We're at 924, next goal 950. 1,150 people are watching. So guys, if you have not already liked the show, as Moody's asking everybody, hit that like, and let's see if we can break 1,000. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Oh, that's the Missouri primary House nominees. Gotcha. I'll be honest, I haven't paid enough attention. I think it's because Missouri is going to go red pretty much no matter what. So, Aspen was using big balls to kill Doge to keep USAID. Vance killed it. Are you saying Vance helped get rid of USAID? Is that what you're saying? I don't really understand the way you phrase that. I'm sorry. Ace, the way we win is keeping COVID, Fauci, our narrative. Everyone is affected by it. Well, it's part of it. The other way is to keep telling everybody that they're communists and keep showing them who they really are. I mean, the stuff they're saying is so insane that it's obvious once you bring it up. Like this woman, the anti-whiteness, just keep showing how communist they are. And people will be repelled by it. They will not vote for communists. I'm telling you right now. Alex Jones fired Owen Schroyer for being a gay Nazi. Only allowed to yell in the chat if you're yelling for likes, says Moody. All caps, right, Mood? Let's see here. I'd vote for Susan Kakinda too. She's awesome. DJ says, MTG could be a Trump asset with the goal to infiltrate left-wing media and snitch on right-wing deep state. Some of these black pillars could be Trump assets. No. 100% no. And this is why, DJ, I know what you're trying to do here, and I would appreciate it if it wasn't so obvious. Here's the deal. What these people are doing, okay, is, along with Marjorie Taylor Greene, you got to understand, if they're an asset for Trump, there would at least be some of this helping Trump, or they would be playing more of the middle ground, right? Well, we don't like this, but Trump's doing this. And so that way they could work their way in while also kind of trying to wake people up. None of this helps Trump or the Republicans at all. It's a net negative completely. And if it's always a net negative every single time, that's how you know there's no way they're playing both sides, or there's no way they're plants by Trump. It's all negative all the time. And so because of that, I just don't see any way at all any of these people are actually assets for Trump in like a secret way. Black pillars can't be assets because they're sabotaging midterm. Exactly. There are real stakes here. How come they didn't nominate McConnell's replacement like they did with Lindsey Graham? Well, because they lied to us and kept McConnell, kept the story. So as long as McConnell is alive, or we don't know he's alive, but they keep that narrative going, they couldn't force him out. And because they can't force him out, they can't run it. They can't force an election. So that's why he's still the senator. So that's why they did it. He is being replaced though after this. I mean, they already have a replacement who won the primary. Some people believe if we don't win, many could face prosecutions similar to those that followed January 6th. Yeah. Listen, if the Democrats win, if the Democrats win in 28, okay, say Kamala comes in office or Gavin Newsom, I will, best case scenario is I lose my show on YouTube. They cut me off. Worst case scenario is they attack me and come after me legally. I fully understand that. I fully understand the risks I do by coming on the show every day. They've done it once before, and that was mild compared to what they have planned in the future. Mild. The deplatforming, the debanking they did under COVID, that was mild compared to what they plan next. And so, yeah, but that's if they get control, which we won't let them. We won't let them. But yeah, it's full on communism the next time they get in, if they do, which we won't let them. So, Petrie says, I heard someone say this might be on purpose. They're all working together with Trump to try and create a second political party, making the Democratic Party irrelevant. What do you think to that? That's the Tim Pool theory. I think it's retarded. I really do. Trump, why would he need another party? You see, they all like, okay, so one of the theories is that Tulsi Gabbard runs for president in 28. And because Tulsi was a Democrat and she then came to MAGA, that she would be the way to create another party that would kill the Democratic Party. Here's the problem with that. The Democrats, as Cynical wrote in this post right here, they are completely united in their people. And very few are breaking off. The ones that break off are coming to MAGA, or, they're just not interested in voting. Tulsi Gabbard would, because she betrayed the Democrats by joining Trump, no Democrats ever going to vote for her. And so the only people that pull off from parties in order to vote for somebody like Tulsi Gabbard would be MAGA people. And so all this design to get these people like, a new party, this is all to destroy MAGA. It's not to destroy the Democrats. And here's the other thing. Why would Trump want to create a new party to go against MAGA? That makes no sense. MAGA has already taken over the Republican Party, and it's getting stronger by the day. The Republicans are the Trump party. They are the MAGA party. There's no getting around it anymore. So Trump now, if the Democrats are weak, he knows he now has a party moving forward that's going to carry on for America and rebuild America, because the other side's so weak that could do this for generations. Why would you create another opponent to make either the Democrats or why would we even risk it? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. Okay, Senator, I can't get out of my head. Rubio passed his confirmation with 100%, but I trust Trump. He's been good Secretary of State. Rubio passed because some people thought he was still a neocon, and they didn't realize that he'd completely been changed by Trump. You can see it when they talk about him in the hearings. The Democrats hate Rubio now. They are so angry that they passed him through. But he also was a senator for many years, so they voted for one of their own. That's what they thought. Chris says, if we keep the Senate, there's still hope. If we lose the House and Senate, we're toast. That's not true. I disagree with that. I'm sorry. They can't get anything passed with Trump, because even if they win the Senate, they won't have veto-proof majority. They might squeak it out, and honestly, they're not going to win the Senate. But even if they did, they have to have 51 to win the Senate, because Vance is a tiebreaker. So if they squeaked out the Senate and got 51 votes, that's not enough to impeach Trump and convict him. It's not enough to overturn vetoes. It's 28 is the real battle. This midterms just determines how much faster we move. Okay, that's all. It doesn't ruin the country. The midterms are not the end all be all for the country. DJ says, too many people jumped off the Democratic chain more than the Trump train plus SAVE Act. Trump is 100% going to win the midterms. 100%. I think 95% Senate win, 60% House win right now. You have to always, you never know what they're going to pull off between now and then. The enemy still gets a vote. I think they're very weak. I don't think they can pull off what they want to, but you never know. And we'll keep watching carefully. Even if they get rid of the filibuster, Trump still has the veto. Okay. You understand? If the Senate and House, Democrats say they win the House and Senate, they pass a bill, passes both houses, goes to Trump's desk, he vetoes it, goes back to the Senate, and they have to have 67 votes to overturn it. That's not happening. The Republicans, knowing that the party is MAGA, knowing that they will get destroyed if they join with the Democrats in 28, because Trump will still be in control of the DOJ, the intelligence agencies and foreign policy. Plus, he'll still have executive orders. So they can't overturn his veto. That's why when people act as if the midterms are the end of the world if we lose, they're just wrong. But it's not good. I'm not saying it's good. We all need to show up and make sure the MAGA wins are overwhelming in the midterms. And so Trump can skate through much easier in his last 2 years and just crush it. Absolutely, because they will slow things down, but it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. And we cannot act like it is. If they win the House and Senate and then they win 28, then we're in serious trouble. Serious trouble. But if they win the midterms and Trump's still president, it's not serious trouble. It's just a pain in the ass. And that's a big difference. In fact, you could look at it another way, that if the Democrats came in and got rid of the filibuster, and then in 28, the Republicans came back in and now there's no filibuster, that might be the way to actually move things forward. Them winning the midterms, there is a strong case to be made. It could actually be better for us in 28 because people will remember how awful the Democrats are. And then just like, listen, people thought when Biden became president and they won the House and Senate, that was the end of the world. We survived, didn't we? And then it came back better 4 years later because of it. There's always hope. There's always hope. All right. Well, guys, I got to get going. As I said, I got to get the kids ready to go to the lake. So I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you to the amazingly generous people today in the super chats. Extremely blessed and humbled by you guys. This is a viewer supported show. So again, every dollar matters. You don't see me throwing a bunch of sponsor crap at you guys. There's a reason for that. I want to be a man of the people more than anything else. Not saying I'll never take a sponsor if the right one came along, but trust me, I get offers and I don't want to throw a bunch of crap at you guys just to make a few extra bucks. So listener supported. And, that's where we're at, but thank you so much. And, just everybody's amazing. I will be back tomorrow, even at the lake. Oh yeah. We're 10 likes short of 1,000. If anybody hasn't liked the video, hit that like. I will be back on tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. So like I said, the only difference is I might show up in a tank top with a beer. Who knows? Who knows? But you guys are amazing. Love this group. Best community on the internet. Let me pray and we'll get out of here. So Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God bless everybody here, everybody watching, and especially those who support the channel and the members, Lord. Just bless them, Lord, in Jesus' name. And Father, be with President Trump. We pray protection over Trump and everybody working with him, Father. Protect them, watch over them, give them wisdom for every situation. And just pray we keep winning and that those wins accelerate going into the midterms and more people wake up. Pray that the light is continuing to be shined on corruption and those who justice needs to come to, more awakening as a result of that as well. And just pray for our country, for peace, prosperity, and justice to come to our country like never before. And help us all to do our part to protect this country and lead it forward to a better country than we've ever known, and leave one better to our kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Love you guys. Bless you. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a great evening.
Headlines screaming like a siren at night. Red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the dead of night.